Hey guys, this just in. Smosh has become the first channel to reach 100,000 subscribers. Isn't that crazy? Not only that these two guys were able to hit that milestone, well, which way does the camera go? I don't know, but it's crazy that's even a possible feat to happen on YouTube. 100,000, that's a lot of people. You know, it's only 2007. I can't wait to see what the next couple of decades have in store for this website. Peace out.
The YouTube situation is insane. YouTubers' egos have developed big enough to think that they can expand past simply just uploading YouTube videos. Many of them have ventured into other mediums such as music, movies, books, and even jail.
Fred was never arrested. I didn't realize how that would look until I finished editing it.
But today, of course, we are talking about the highest art form, video games. A few years ago, I went on a journey of covering every single video game that a YouTuber has ever made. In some of the videos, I played the entire game myself and gave you a full review. And in other videos, I would just talk about the mere existence of some of these games. Not all of my coverage was treated equally. So of course, the next 3 hours is a compilation of most of those videos. And if you don't know any of the YouTubers in question, that's fine. I gave a thorough examination of their lore beforehand. Actually, I explained their lore a little bit too much sometimes, so I trimmed out those segments along with the intros and outros, etc. Now remember, don't breathe the air and good luck hunting for your meals.
PewDiePie, Legend of the Brofist is a mobile game that was released on September 24th, 2015. It's a 2D side-scrolling action-adventure platform game, developed by the indie development studio Outer Minds, in collaboration with, of course, PewDiePie. In late 2014, Felix first showed off a small bit of an incredibly early version of the game. In it, he asked his fans for input on what the game should be like.
I will need your bros' help to fill it out. I want to make a game with you bros. So I want you bros to help out, come up with anything you can. I want all your bros input on what this game should be, because I feel like this is the game for you bros after all. So I want you bros to really feel like you take part in it and taking part in making it. What kind of story do you want a game like this to be? What kind of gameplay do you want a game like this? Which characters should it be in this game? What enemies should be in this game? What abilities should I have? All these things. I want you bros to just go crazy in the comments and let me know. If you have any cool ideas, just let me know and we're gonna go through as much of it as possible.
It sounded like he genuinely wanted input from his fans and was excited for his game to be made. His fans also seemed excited and many people gave their input. We now flash forward 9 months and the game was finally released on iOS and Android. It received a very positive reception. It reached number 1 on the App Store and grossed over $100,000 on the first day, which was obviously very good. Let's dive into the Legend of the Brofist. The game starts with Felix finishing up another classic PewDiePie video.
And that, bros, is how you make bread using your butt cheeks.
He then finds out that the video somehow got 0 views. This time it's not the algorithm that's against him, but the barrels.
All your fans belong to us.
So that's what we're in store for today, huh?
So you kill the first barrel and the gameplay starts. Your first objective is to keep Marzia safe. You move around with your left thumb and jump with your right thumb. It does control fine, it's just not my favorite way to play a platformer. In December of 2015, this game was released on Steam. That version had a co-op mode and controller support. Playing this game with a controller sounds like it would have been so much better. Playing on the phone is definitely doable, but it's just a little inconvenient and uncomfortable. Going back to the game, you jump around, collect bro coins until you get to the bedroom where you dig in a pile of clothes and find Marzia. And thanks to the fact that I played this game on an iPhone, I could not, at the time, read what it said when you found her. I figured out how to get rid of that white bar later on, but it was just so annoying. So Marzia is now following along with you. After that, I spent a good amount of time collecting coins for a while without ever even noticing that there was a pink arrow. So I followed the arrow and dig through a pile of clothes to get some headphones, and then I realized I have a bunch of stuff I need to collect. In this very moment, I was scared the entire game was going to be like this. Just an endless arcade style game where I just collect items from piles and different levels while dodging barrels endlessly. But thankfully I was wrong, as you eventually find keys to a car and leave, but not before getting a call from the Barrel King.
I captured all your fans, and soon the legendary Brofist shall be mine. The legendary Brofist? The hell is that?
I actually love how Felix voiced his character and the Barrel King like he would in one of his videos. It just feels really campy, I don't know how else to put it. Marzia, along with every other character in the game, also has voice acting from the original people.
Caputs, you have to say your fans.
It does feel like she's phoning it in a bit, but it's not just her, I promise.
Yeah, thanks for the rescue. Now let me help you. My eye and I will guide you through this place.
And I'm not a fan of a lot of the pixel art for when they're bigger. This game looks fine when things are small, but the bigger portraits are a huge hit or miss for me. Anyway, Felix and Marzia set out on a quest to stop the barrels from obtaining the legendary Brofist.
Now I can get back into bed and eat snacks all day.
Every single time you beat a level, you are greeted with this dancing PewDiePie that I feel a strong urge to kick every time I see it. Every character does have their own unique dance, which is kinda cool. Once you beat level 1, you get to see the map and it's laid out like so many other level-based games. There's a menu filled with power-ups and characters and upgrades you can buy. There is a good amount of unique abilities that accommodate for many different playstyles. The playable characters are Felix, Marzia, Markiplier, Cinnamon Toast, Ken, Cryotic, and Jacksepticeye, along with a bunch of different costumes. There's also a duck character that you can unlock by collecting all of the collectibles. And all these characters come with their own power-ups and gimmicks. But of course, most everything is locked at the start. There's also a collection screen showing you that there's actually a decent amount of optional collectibles. At this moment, I only have enough money to buy a couple things, so I buy Marzia and a healing ability and set out for level 2. There's also a level difficulty you can select. And because I ain't no bitch, I went for the hardest difficulty that was available, Bro Mode. The next level has you escaping from General Barrel as you hop from car to car. If you jump on the street or lose all of your HP, you die and have to start from the beginning. This level is the hardest level in the game. Yes, you heard me right. Level 2 is the hardest level in the game. No, it didn't help that I played on Bro Mode, but I played most of this game on Bro Mode as well. And the best part of this level is you only see one other level like this in the entire game. Okay, so why is this level so hard? First of all, it is completely different from that first mundane level. Here you're introduced to the cars, exploding barrels, gas barrels, barrels that shoot at you, and rolling jumping barrels. There's these ducks that blend right in with the background. The first time I encountered them, I literally thought they were just visuals. And don't forget that General Barrel is chasing you down as you're hopping from car to car. And you have to figure out how the cars move and which parts of the car you can actually stand on. This is level 2. Level 1 had stupidly easy, no-risk platforming. That level had a few different types of barrels in it, yeah, but it was such a safe environment where you could figure out how all of them work and none of them were complicated to grasp. And not to mention, you weren't on moving cars the entire time. Yes, like I said, I made this a lot harder on myself by playing on Bro Mode, which means every hit counts for 3 hearts. But even if I played on the easiest difficulty, there is such a learning curve here and so many new things here, I feel like it would have taken me a bit of time regardless. By the way, in these levels you have Edgar and Maya following you around. They serve as an extra hit for when you're about to die, which is nice. I did eventually conquer level 2 and oh no, General Barrel has you cornered.
Nowhere to run. Deliver yourself or get blown to smithereens.
But not for long, as you get a call from the one and only Markiplier.
Wait, I'm getting you out of here. Jump on my jet.
Your what? Oh my god.
Top tier storytelling.
Where did you get a jet?
Oh, that. Just something I got on the internet.
The next level is an auto-scroller where you're flying on an airplane. This level is stupidly easy compared to the last one. At the end, you kill General Barrel and set out towards the North Pole to kill his brother. After that level, Markiplier becomes a playable character. From this point on, I won't be going over every individual level. We would be here all day if I did that. So in general, this game is actually pretty good. It throws a lot at you and always stays moving, which can be nice, but at the same time, it can be very annoying. Like how was I supposed to know that this cutscene had even ended and that this T-Rex was going to kill me in one hit? The game feels like it's trying to be too many different types of games too fast. You go from a basic tutorial to cars to planes to a linear platformer to having to just survive the clock to another few linear platforming levels to a boss. All of those different types of levels do work just fine in this game, but I went into this game blind, and after the first 5 levels of this game, I had no idea what to expect. It of course ended up mostly being a linear platformer, but it does take a while to know that. So it can feel like a lot sometimes, but it controls very well overall. I'm no expert in level design, but only one thing stuck out to me as terrible game design. In this one level, penguins are coming out of the left side of the screen, which if you're playing on mobile, you can't see them because of your thumb that you need to use to move. So during this level, I ended up playing just like this. Nothing else stuck out to me as terrible, which is obviously good. However, there was one glitch that I found. If you die and reach the end of the level at the exact same time, you are given this awful noise. I will also add that it took me a good while to figure out that I had to dig up collectibles in this game. I'm not totally docking points for this because they do show you that you can dig in level 1, and I guess the collectibles are meant to be secret that you have to find for yourself. I was annoyed once I realized how many collectibles I missed, and I didn't enjoy the levels to the degree on where I wanted to go back to get the extras. But regardless, they are a nice touch to the game. And this game is not completely linear, there are some branching paths to be had. At some point during each level, this camera octopus thing comes out and takes your picture. At the end of the level, it'll give you the option to post it online for your friends to see, which does sound cool, but the picture is always taken at a fixed point in each level. So I wonder, how unique can this feature really get? Oh look, at this point in the level I was jumping! Oh no way, I was running there! This isn't a big deal, I just feel like it'd be cooler if you could send the octopus out whenever you wanted to. And as it stands right now, I just ignored it and it felt like a waste of time. This game is decently difficult playing on the bro difficulty. I stuck with it until this Christmas level that just kicked my ass. I wouldn't say that this one is particularly hard, but it was moderately difficult and so very long. I just got fed up with starting over and switched to hard mode, and this is when I lost my mind. There's checkpoints in this game? You're telling me I could have used checkpoints in that awful car level? I can't stress enough how this genuinely blew my mind. Bro mode did not have checkpoints, and every hit took 3 hearts. Now every hit takes 2 hearts. There is a lot more hearts that spawn in, and there's checkpoints that fully heal you. I know I did this to myself, but I had no idea how much harder I was making it on myself. From this point on, I played on hard mode the entire time and felt no shame for it. Unfortunately, hard mode is actually really easy. I just flew through the entire rest of the game after this. Every level was a piece of cake. I hardly even worried about taking damage given how hearts spawn so often, and especially since the checkpoints fully heal you. I really do wish there was a balance between these two difficulties. I would love a difficulty that was the same as bro mode but just added checkpoints that don't heal you. But instead you have to play a game that's either too easy or too tedious. Let's talk about the story.
Where did you get that copter?
It's really just whatever. You're making your way to the King Barrel to free your fans and stop him from obtaining the legendary Brofist. And I hate to say it, but this game really wasn't funny either. Everything is based off old school PewDiePie, and I didn't really watch him a ton back then. I am sure so many references flew right over my head. There were some things that I understood, like Stefano's a character and you have to fight Falcon Lover.
I accept the contract.
This story may be way more enjoyable if you were a huge fan of PewDiePie during this time, but since I wasn't, it just didn't do it for me.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to be naughty.
Everything just felt so to lols random, which I'm willing to bet is at least a little bit in line with old school Pewds.
Jack it up.
When playing levels, I would see a lot of random stuff and I couldn't figure out if everything going on was a reference or not. Like, is this exploding cow here for no reason, or is this a reference? There's characters like Shannon and Jennifer that I have never heard of before. So maybe I'm not in the loop as much as I should be to play this game, but the theming of everything and the story in general is just so bad I feel like you need to know the references to enjoy it at all. However, if you do enjoy the story, do not let me stop you from enjoying it.
I got an idea. Attach me to the rope and bear witness to my power. Guys?
I really could talk about and dive into all of these levels in specific a lot more, but by now I'm sure you all understand my overall thoughts and how the game works. So let's skip all the way to the end. We are now on the moon and we're fighting the King Barrel himself. This is the ultimate battle to see who will claim the legend of the Bro Fist. You can see Felix's fans in the background and you could tell they kinda got lazy with it. They made a few sprites and just repeated them all through the background. But we cannot afford to worry about that right now because we need to stop the King Barrel.
You've done well to come all this way. But as you can see, I've contained all your fans. All that is missing is you, and the legendary Bro Fist will be mine.
It doesn't work that way.
This is a pretty solid boss fight, perhaps a little too drawn out for my likeness, but it wasn't too bad at all. It took me a few tries and I finally did it. What's happening?
Whoa! The legendary Bro Fist! How did you do that? I got the fans. I should get the power.
Can't get the legendary Bro Fist by force. Because it's in your heart. You are empty inside.
Of course I'm empty. I'm a barrel.
You should never mess with the bros.
Never. So then the entire gang's dancing and the credits roll and now it's over. When I first killed King Barrel, I was on hard mode but my phone ran out of storage so I couldn't capture the fight at all. So I redid the fight but played it on the easiest difficulty to just get the footage. And what I found out was the second half of the boss fight is just skipped entirely, which I hate. I hate to think that I may have been missing out on content for the entire game because I wasn't playing on a harder difficulty. But for the most part I was, but I just hate that in general. So I talked a lot about the pros and cons of this game, but what are my overall thoughts? Is this game worth the $4 on the App Store or the $8 on Steam? If you like platformers and you think you would enjoy what you just saw, then honestly, I think it's worth it. This game is not perfect, but it does give you a few hours of fun game time. And if you're looking for a good challenge and want to 100% the game, then you have a good challenge here. At this point, it's obvious that this game was made directly for fans of PewDiePie, and perhaps that, along with the fans' heavy involvement, is why it didn't receive more long-term success. At the time of the game's release, I was not a huge PewDiePie fan, so I never even considered picking up the game, despite the fact that I was a huge platformer fan myself. And this game wasn't bad, but it also wasn't good enough for people to really vouch for outside of its own niche. And not to mention the fact that this game is very dated. Most new school PewDiePie fans will not understand many references at all unless they do their research beforehand. Earlier I mentioned that some controversies may be a reason why this game has died. I'm not speaking on any controversies with Felix. I am talking about Cryotic, one of the playable characters in the game. No, this is not Dream, but they do rock similar aesthetics. Cry and Felix used to collab a lot and they seem to be good friends.
I will cry. Do you remember?
What?
September.
But as of 2020, it's come out that he was grooming minors and thus his controversy began. He was kicked off Twitch and hasn't uploaded on YouTube in almost 2 years.
Oh, Cry.
Do you think there's something between us?
Shh. Let's not ruin this moment with words.
Poots, what are you doing?
So naturally, I'll now be covering the second game he made, Tuber Simulator. I'm sure most people watching are at least familiar with Tuber Simulator, even if you've never played it for yourself. Today, I'll explain what the game is, how it works, and I'll explain the game's initial success followed by its massive explosion 3 years later with PewDiePie's ads. And then we'll look at the state of the game today, another 3 years later. This game was released on September 29th, 2016 on iOS and Android. It was created by Outer Minds in collaboration with Revel Mode and Felix, of course. Outer Minds are the same people who worked on Legend of the Brofist. Revel Mode was a YouTube network that was owned by Maker Studio, which is a multi-channel network that's owned by Disney. However, Revel Mode did not last due to some controversies with Felix. Yet Revel Mode's name is still there every single time you boot up the game. Tuber Simulator became the #1 game on the App Store for free-to-play games with over 1 million downloads in less than 24 hours. However, this did cause server issues for the game. Despite the issues, people were giving it positive reviews and plenty of other YouTubers were playing it. The game was an instant hit. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. Before we continue, let's take a look at the game itself and see if all of the praise was warranted. Tuber Simulator is an idle and simulation game that parodies the life of a YouTuber, not to be confused with YouTuber's life. Unlike Legend of the Brofist, this game is actually well written and funny. Not that there's much story to it, of course. In the game, you create online videos, gain subscribers, and get views, all while decorating your office. You make videos that earn you views that you can use as currency. You use that currency to buy items to decorate your office with. You can decorate your office however you want. And the more items you get, the faster you level up. And the more you level up, the more items you get, and so on and so forth. The game is an endless cycle. You get subscribers once your videos are published. The more subscribers you get, the more skills you're able to unlock in the knowledge tree. Here you can get a multitude of perks that can help you get more views, more subscribers, new features, etc. You upgrade each perk with brains that you get through leveling up, and that's the game at its core for you. Like I said, it's an idle game, and at the end of the day, all idle games work mostly the same. You start off the game playing a lot as everything's happening so quickly, but as time goes on, you have to let the game just sit and do its thing, while you check back maybe a couple times a day. There are mini games to help things go by fast, but they all cost views to play or are time gated, which kind of turns Tuber Simulator into a balancing game with how you spend your views. These mini games are fine, but absolutely mindless. I will not tell you how much time I spent playing Peggle and enjoying the satisfying sounds as the pugs fell down. Also, as a side note, shouldn't this be called Pugchinko instead of Puggle? There's another currency called bucks that the game really wants you to spend real money on. You can get bucks by playing these games or waiting for Sponsor Eagle to drop some off. However, it's very slow to build up bucks this way, and they really just want you to pay for bucks. I feel like every single idle game has this type of currency. Bucks are nice to have, they can speed up deliveries and buy exclusive items, but they are not necessary, and in my opinion, they're only there so the developers can make some more money off of you. Not saying it's a bad thing, but that's how I feel about it. And if you don't want to spend real money on bucks, that's fine. You have optional ads that can also help you by speeding things up a notch. So this is slightly off topic, but holy shit, I have forgotten how atrocious mobile game ads are. They are either so stupid or horny or even both. But hey, if it gives me more views, I'll put up with it. If you can't stand the ads, there's a monthly subscription service you can buy for $2.99 a month. This service activates all ads automatically. If you or someone you know actually bought this Tuber Simulator subscription, let me know. Was it worth it? And how long did you have it before canceling? Because I really like to think that someone somewhere out there actually got this subscription in 2016 and has kept it all the way to 2022 and just had no idea they were still paying for it. There's also themes that come up every so often. These themes come with exclusive items, and the game encourages you to decorate your office to match the theme. People can then vote on which office matches the theme the best. I have actually seen some very impressive rooms while voting. Along with that, there's meme events. You take pictures of your in-game setup and turn them into memes. I didn't look into this feature much at all because it didn't let me write the word poop, despite there being literal poop behind me that was already in the game. So I went, this is stupid, and never touched the feature again. There's other small features here and there in the game, but I covered most of what's important. So, is this game worth playing? If you enjoy idle games or decorating games, then I don't see why not. It is free after all, and that's a great price. But I still do have some problems with the game. There's some minor things, like it can be annoying to make subtle adjustments to items, and you always get this pop-up when switching rooms, and I don't know why there just isn't a button to press to turn this on or off. The bigger problems come with just how the game is designed. So to unlock more items you need to level up, but you need to buy items to level up, right? So why would I bother decorating my place in the beginning when I have almost nothing unlocked? This made me just want to min-max the game and just get the items that would level me up the fastest. Why bother decorating when I haven't seen the full scope of what I can decorate with? So most of the time I played this game, it was spent looking like a mess. Eventually, when I was a high enough level, I did start to decorate, but once I decorated, I felt content. And that's just how I am with decorating games. When playing The Sims or Animal Crossing, once I get something the way I like it, I hardly ever make changes to it. And when I do, it's usually a small change or two. And now I'm at the point where everything takes so long to complete and I'm struggling to find a reason to keep going. I already have my one room decorated, my second room is now my new hoarding room, and my third room is my monkey room, and that's perfect. I have purchased all of the good perks and the rest of them are either pointless or very, very expensive. So what reason do I still have to play? Well, when you save up to 400 bucks, you can buy a remove desk option, and I'm almost there, and I really want my monkey room to only have a monkey in it. So after that, I can uninstall. I started playing this game sometime in early March of this year, and now May is coming to a close. Personally, I've been kinda losing interest in this game gradually over the last month, but that first month of playing this game was kinda fun. And now I'm just waiting to get the monkey room the way I want it. Either way, it was fun for like a month, and if you're wondering, here's all my stats for playing for about 3 months. So that's my review of the game. Let's get back to talking about its second explosion in popularity. In 2018 and 2019, PewDiePie was arguably more popular than ever. The battle of PewDiePie versus T-Series was in full swing. It was a race to see which YouTube channel would reach 100 million subscribers first. This exploded in popularity. Many YouTubers were making their own videos pushing for PewDiePie to win, and the internet tried to help in many creative ways. This resulted in PewDiePie and T-Series both gaining millions of subscribers, and PewDiePie's top 2 videos of all time. This battle came to an end in April of 2019 when Felix asked for it to end. He explains that people took it too far. He mentioned people were doing things he didn't like. For example, someone spray painted "subscribe to PewDiePie" over a World War II memorial. But what ultimately put the nail in the coffin was when somebody said, "Subscribe to PewDiePie," as they shot and killed many people at 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. People respectfully agreed with Felix and ended the movement. The following month, T-Series hit 100 million subscribers, and a few months later, PewDiePie followed as well.
Ba-da! PewDiePie, congratulations on passing 100 million subscribers.
Regardless, PewDiePie was on top of YouTube at this time, and he carried that momentum with his Minecraft series. He greatly helped Minecraft explode back into the mainstream with his Let's Plays. But that was not the only game he was helping revive.
What? You haven't tried Tuber Simulator seriously? After 50 million outros?
PewDiePie was making ads for his 2016 game and putting them at the end of most of his videos. He kept joking, saying that the game was still relevant, but because of these ads, the game actually did become relevant again. What started as a regular promotion became a huge inside joke with PewDiePie's fan base, which was bigger than ever. But how much of an impact did these ads really have? Well, we can look at Google Trends to get a good idea. Google Trends tracks how much a certain word, topic, or phrase has been Googled in a certain time period. As you can see, in October of 2016, this game soared up in popularity. Unfortunately, it went down and flatlined in November, less than 2 months after its release. It wasn't until February of 2019 that we saw any real growth again. It peaked in July of 2019, a month after PewDiePie started his Minecraft series. It did again flatline by November of the same year. If you compare the two spikes, you can clearly see that Tuber Simulator was undoubtedly the biggest when it was first launched, but it died down only a month later, when in 2019, the spike was never nearly as high, but managed to stay popular for much longer, which I would consider just as impressive. So that brings us to today. It shouldn't be a surprise, but it's flatlined up to this point again. But by no means can I consider this game a failure. It was an obvious huge success in the beginning, getting over 12 million downloads in the first month. And the fact that it was able to become relevant 3 years later in a way that transcends its original scope is quite impressive. And I wouldn't even call the fan base dead either. I'm not sure how many active players there are in total, but during the in-game events when I vote on room themes, there seems to be no shortage of people who have submitted a room. And there's networks in the game that you can join that show people who are clearly still playing the game. So, is this game still relevant? According to the meme, yes. But in reality, not really. Anyway, I'm getting back to some Tuber Simulator right now. Wait a second. I have enough. Wait. Does that mean I can finally? Have you heard of the small YouTuber? Mr. Beast! Is he even a gamer? Oh, well, I guess he is. He even released his own set of video games, Finger on the App 1 and Finger on the App 2. I wouldn't necessarily call them a traditional video game, but I think they still count. Either way, I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with those apps, but what if I told you there was one more game that Mr. Beast is intentionally hiding from you, and he completely removed it off the face of the earth? Well, in today's video, I will tell you the story behind Finger on the App 1 and 2 and explain this mysterious video game. I thought it would be only fitting if in this video I talk about the Mr. Beast copycat himself, Morgs. If you don't know who Morgs is, he creates videos that I can only imagine kids watch.
Well, Mum, it'd be a shame if you got paused.
No, Morgan! No! No!
Pause!
His videos are very extra to say the least. In 2019, people caught on to the fact that Morgs was copying Mr. Beast videos, earning him the reputation of a cringy discount Mr. Beast.
Morgs Ultimate Challenge!
Alright, so we're greeted by Morgs and now you have to customize your character. After that, it sends you to the main menu where you see 4 minigames. One's coming soon and 2 are locked, so I guess for now we'll play food or not food.
Feeling hungry?
I was until I saw that terrifying Bitmoji thing of Morgs. Alright, so we eat the food and don't eat the not food. Beat Morgs' high score and get $1,000. Alright, I think oh god. Terrifying characters aside, this minigame is good. You have to eat as much real food as possible by swiping it to your character's mouth before the time runs out. Every time you eat real food, you gain a bit more time. And if you eat the golden glowy food, you gain a lot more time. And Morgs goes...
Extra time!
Fun fact, I actually despise his exaggerated voice that he uses in his videos. If you eat something that isn't food, you lose time and Morgs goes...
Why would you eat that? Ew, disgusting! Gross!
And I hate that so much. And I don't hate it just because it's his exaggerated voice. I hate how frequently I have to hear it. Anyway, it's a simple yet fun minigame, and it actually can be confusing on what's what when things get faster. Let's just say I messed up a lot more than I expected to. So when you inevitably lose, it ranks your scores against Morgs and people that I assume are associated with Morgs. I beat them all first try. So I level up, get a lot of cash, and the game asks if I want to customize my avatar, and of Of course I do. You're only able to buy things randomly and the clothes are really just a color swap for the most part. I believe that's the only thing you can buy with the cash that you win. Very underwhelming. You level up by casually playing, and when you get to level 3 you unlock the floor is lava. For this game you are given basically no instructions aside from the obvious. So I die immediately, and when you fall in the lava, Morgs goes, "It's burning!" And I have never been more motivated to do well than while playing this game. I figured out that you have to choose between moving either 1 space or 2 spaces. You go until the clock runs out and you can land on watches to give yourself more time. That's it. Another yet simply surprising fun minigame. And I will say, for whatever reason, this one was my favorite. It just feels like the most straightforward and satisfying game to me. At level 6, you unlock the last game, Shark Attack. Again, you're left with little information, so I died very quickly. And again, you go until the clock runs out and you just avoid the sharks the entire time by going side to side. There's only 2 types of sharks, gray and red. The gray sharks just stay still while the red ones move last second to the opposite side. However, since the game did not tell me anything, I at first thought that they auto-targeted to you when they got close, and I was very confused. Once I did figure it out, it was very easy, but I didn't play much of it because it hurts my eyes once it goes too fast. And that's the entire app. Unless you're going for a high score in the leaderboards or trying to get all of the costumes, you're not going to be playing this game for even 20 minutes. Or at least I didn't. I really can't call this app bad because the minigames are well made, there's just not a ton to it. Along with that, you do have to put up with Morgs' repetitive dialogue. And yes, this game is riddled with ads, but that's how every mobile game is nowadays, so I really can't dock points for that, even though I really want to because it is so annoying. So if you have 10 minutes to kill and you're very bored, then I guess you might as well download this game. I can't believe I'm even saying that. So let's now move on to somebody less British, Mr. Beast. Finger on the App was a mobile game created by Mr. Beast and Beast Games in collaboration with Mischief. Mischief is described as an art collective. They've made things from a rubber chicken bong to a dog collar that turns barks into swear words. Shit! They've even worked with Lil Nas X to create sneakers, and of course Mr. Beast for Finger on the App. Feel free to learn more about Mischief on their website if you want to. However, their website is atrocious to navigate and it looks like it was made in the 90s. But regardless, I guess this team can help with basically anything. Finger on the App was a very simple game. You keep your finger on the app for as long as possible. You have 3 lives and occasionally you have to move your finger just to prevent bots from winning. The last person to take their finger off wins $25,000. The first competition took place on June 30th, 2020 with over 1 million players. The app worked well aside from things like Siri ruining everything on occasion.
Hey Ziri, I appreciate the... Oh my god!
I don't know what that means.
The competition ran for over 70 hours. 4 players were left when Mr. Beast decided to award all 4 players the win and the $20,000. The original Finger on the App was very successful and everyone seemed to be happy with it. So why not make a sequel? Well, perhaps it should have ended there. On March 15th, 2021, Mr. Beast launched Finger on the App 2. I know, he is so creative with these names. The game was originally supposed to be launched in December 2020, yet was delayed to February and then to March of 2021 due to a flood of downloads causing the game to crash and requiring the game's developers to upgrade their servers. It's essentially the same game with the concept, but now the prize is increased to $100,000. And Lords Mobile was a sponsor. So on March 1st, 2021, the competition started. There were more players than the first competition, but not by much. Which is weird considering the increase in prize money and the fact that Mr. Beast gained millions of new fans since the first game. Despite that, the game was in full swing and was a disaster. A lot of people were getting kicked off of the app and randomly losing lives despite not taking their fingers off of the app. Many people took to Twitter complaining and plenty of streamers had proof of the game suddenly not working. There were even microtransactions to buy extra lives in the game, so people wasted money on that as well and of course were not happy. The Beast Games Twitter did reach out to people offering refunds. Mr. Beast himself even apologized by saying sorry, Sawi. I'm sorry, this is just so funny. Like, this is kind of a big thing to mess up, so to reply by saying Sawi is just genuinely hilarious to me. However, he did say they're looking into it as well. The Beast Game Twitter soon posted an update with potential problems, but that didn't really help anybody. There was even a conspiracy that a Lord's Mobile ad popped up to randomly knock people out, but that was just the screen that popped up once you lost, and people didn't realize that right away. After 2 days and 3 hours, a 19-year-old named SwagBacon123 was the last person with his finger on the app and won $100,000. The person in second place did get $20,000 as well. Overall, some people did have fun with the app, but more people were angry about the bugs and glitches. I do not suspect they will be making a finger on the app 3. The game's reputation overall is negative, and the second game didn't even attract a whole lot of new players, so I don't see a huge motivation to make another one, even if you did fix all the bugs and glitches. Now the moment you have all been waiting for, Mr. Beast's secret game. On July 30th, 2020, Mr. Beast uploaded a video on his second channel called Solve This Riddle for $100,000. Long story short, he was attempting to create the world's hardest riddle. It was more of an ARG, which isn't anything new, but whatever. There were 26 steps to this riddle, and whoever solves it first wins $100,000. Oh, and this entire thing was sponsored by Apex Legends. He jam-packed this first video with so many different potential clues to try and throw people off. In the description, he says that this took months to set up, and they expect this to take over a week. It only took 8 hours. No, the secret Mr. Beast video game I'm talking about isn't this riddle entirely, but it is part of the riddle. I suppose it would be unsatisfying if I only talked about the secret video game without talking about the rest of the ARG, so I'm going to explain all 26 steps in rapid fire. In the original video, Jimmy says there's 6 yellow numbers sprinkled throughout the entire riddle that you have to keep track of. Those 6 numbers will be the code to win. Step 1 is linked in the description of the video that we just talked about. It brings you to a video where Jimmy explains that there's 10 links in the description and only 1 link will bring you to step 2, and the rest are dead ends, which is true, and the right one in the middle brings you to step 2. Step 2 is the same exact thing as step 1, but instead there is no link in the description and you have to type out the links to guess which works. The 7th link is the correct one. Step 3 is a 7.5-minute video of Jimmy eating cereal. Wow, Mr. Beast is stealing from 11-year-old me. 6 minutes in, Jimmy actually says something.
If you look in the bottom left corner of the screen, you'll see a URL. It's only going to be there for a second. All right, it's gone. Going back to cereal eating. Good luck.
The website no longer works. In fact, if the website is not on YouTube, it most likely does not work anymore. Either way, all it did was direct you to an 11-minute video of Chris and Carl playing rock, paper, scissors. Throughout the video, you can hear beeping in the background. That beeping is actually Morse code for this link. The website redirects you to a video. In the video, all he does is tell you to click the link in the description, and that he needs your email so he can track you to make sure that nobody is cheating. A bunch of places around the world were not able to continue past this point for legal reasons. I am not sure why Jimmy didn't say that from the start. Step 6 and 7 are just signing up and agreeing. Step 8 brings you to a phone emulator where Jimmy explains that any numbers you see throughout this riddle should only be used on the emulator. There's a voicemail on the phone that alludes to the riddle announcement video where he throws Orbeez at a picture of Baby Yoda. Because of the Instagram logo in the corner of that picture, you need to go to the Mr. Beast Instagram account and find another account that he's following called Baby Yoda Riddles. The bio of that account has a link that brings you to step 9. Step 9 is a page of hundreds of QR codes. Most are dead ends and the correct one is randomly generated. This would have taken people a while to solve just due to how many codes there are, but people made a code where you can scan all the QR codes very quickly and find the correct link. Step 10 brings you back to the phone emulation where a video plays that again references the riddle's announcement video where Chandler is eating a cookie. Because of the Twitter logo on his head, you're supposed to go to the Mr. Beast Twitter account and find an account called Mr. Cookie is Here. The only tweet by this account is a link back to the phone emulation. Step 11 is instructed by a text from Jimmy. What you have to do is go to the 6,969th entry in the dictionary app on the phone, which means that people had to go through over 6,000 pages in that dictionary. The word is cub. If you text that to Jimmy, you get a really long text message for step 12. The text is from the Jungle Book. Hidden in that text is a number to call. For step 13, you call that number. You then get a seemingly random message from Jimmy, but if you take the first letter of each of the word and make it into a URL, you get step 14. We're halfway there. The website is just a YouTube video that clues you into going to Chris's Instagram account, and there you will find an Apex Legend themed account for step 15. So if you add the account's username to the link that brought you to step 14, you get step 16. Step 16 just has you completing a quote from Apex Legends. For step 17, you then get redirected to this website where you have to enter moisturize, which is a reference to a video that pops up after you get it right. For step 18, you're directed back to the cell phone. You get a text from Jimmy saying code free store. In the original announcement video, there's this sign with Chinese numbers on it that you have to decode to find a phone number. Once you find the number, you go back to your phone emulation and give it a call. And from there, all you have to do is enter free store on the phone. You're then redirected to a call with Shakespeare, which you can just hang up on. This is a clue to go to mrriddle.com/Shakespeare. Step 20 is a word search where you have to find the word subscribe to Mr. Beast. Once done, it gives you this page, and you have to text the number the code it gives you. You're then given a link for step 21. What you have to do is count every letter in the captions from this video that's linked directly under a hint. And then you have to multiply that number by 42,069. A sneaky way to get a lot of views and watch time on a trailer, isn't it? You then get your answer, and so you text it back to the number you were just texting. You then get a link to Carl's favorite game for step 22. Carl's favorite game is a Flappy Bird ripoff using Carl's face and shield cells from Apex Legends. Also, you have this lovely sound effect. There you go, there's the secret game. I'm sorry, I just thought it'd be really funny to build suspense for this just garbage game. To be fair, you can't say I clickbaited you because this is step 22 in a 26-step ARG from 2020. The original video isn't even on his main channel. How can you get more secretive than this? Not to mention the game is now unplayable. Back to the ARG. And Carl's favorite game for that matter. So you have to get to level 100 in this garbage game, and then you're rewarded with these coordinates. Fun fact, people actually made a script so you didn't have to beat Carl's favorite game. Anyway, these coordinates are to the Grand Canyon. In the original video, Chris is driving a golf cart with the Grand Canyon on the license plate, and there's a Twitch icon on top of it. So what you have to do is go to Carl's Twitch to a VOD that at the time was only a few days old. He was playing on the Grand Canyon map in Apex. 6 hours in, he flashed a random website, and that website is step 24. On that website is a stopwatch that you have to stop directly on 69 seconds exactly. Again, people made macros so you didn't have to do it on your own. Regardless, once you do it, you're on to step 25. Here you have to trial and error codes until you get to the final page. I'm not sure exactly what this means, and there were not a lot of screenshots either. Once you're on the final page, you have to enter the key code that you've been collecting throughout the hunt. And once you do that, you are all done.
Congratulations on solving the world's hardest riddle. Take those 6 yellow letters you saw throughout the riddle and put them in the box below, and if you're the first person to do that, I will ship this 100 grand to your house. Congrats.
So I bet you're wondering who the winner is. Well, I am too. Apparently the winner did not want any of this fame that came with solving the riddle. I can totally respect that, but that does call for a little underwhelming ending. Have you heard of the small YouTuber? Mr. Well, if you've been keeping up with his podcast appearances, then you should know he has interest in developing his very own mobile game. But did you know that this would be the 4th game his teams developed? His first couple were Finger on the App 1 and 2, where the last person to take their finger off the app won 25k, then 100k. Next was his giant ARG he made, aka the world's hardest riddle. There was 26 steps in total, including playing a Flappy Bird knockoff called Carl's favorite game. And finally, if you go to shopmrbeast.com right now, there won't be any merch, but instead this endless runner game called Lambo Jump. Audience? What are you doing looking at my YouTube videos? I mean, they are pretty nice YouTube videos, but you're here to watch me talk about Tobuscus. Intro of darkness, then redness, then whiteness. Okay, so Tobuscus used to be a titan over on YouTube with over 14 million subscribers across all 3 of his accounts. He was making videos of all kinds, from sketches, gaming, music, vlogs, and even apology videos. He was even on TV in The Annoying Orange Show.
I did it!
You fixed the engine?
No! I made this sweet lanyard out of the mainframe wiring.
How does that help anything?
Dang it, Orange, I'm a fruit seller, not a doctor.
Such a legendary accomplishment. He was insanely popular thanks to his variety of content and entertaining personality. Well, at least entertaining to kids. A lot of his gaming videos boil down to random and loud equals funny, and overall his personality was very hyper and ADHD. And by personality, I'm of course talking about his persona he always uses on camera. He was so popular, I even had a friend who changed his username to put Buscus at the end of it, and bought his very own Tobuscus merch. With that being said, I don't think a lot of his content holds up today, with some few exceptions of course. But for now, I want to look at his video game Tobuscus Adventures Wizard. I'm going to be talking about the origins of the game, followed by the reception, and then I'll explain the very strange events that followed. After that, I'll show you the game in detail and then give you my full opinion on it. The more I dug into this game, the more weird stuff I found. For example, there are people that got completely scammed out of their perks from the Indiegogo campaign. And the Steam version of the game made so many baffling changes that I cannot wrap my head around, including changing the name of the game entirely. Now, I hope you enjoyed the very odd story of Tobuscus Adventures Wizard. Tobuscus had an animated series on his channel called Tobuscus Animated Adventures. The videos are written by Tobuscus while animated by other talents. They all revolve around Tobuscus and his friend Gay Buscus on their adventures. In the first one, they go find themselves on a beach full of zombies. The second one is about Toby getting a portal gun for Christmas. The third one is about them going to Canada so Toby can take advantage of Canadian prices on cell phone plans. The fourth one has Toby Turner turning his shirt inside out so nobody would recognize him. Very exciting stuff, I know. Describing what happens in these videos with one sentence is definitely doing them a disservice, as these are short, fast-paced animated comedy sketches, so the plot really is not the selling point. Overall, these aged fine. I even exhaled through my nose on a few parts, and sometimes that's really all you can ask for. Regardless of what I think, the series was very popular, with many of them getting over 10 million views each. The reason I'm bringing this series up in the first place is because they were the inspiration for the game Tobuscus Adventures Wizard. The fifth video in the series is just an advertisement for the Indiegogo fundraiser for the game. The fundraiser started on March 21st, 2013, and the goal was to raise $240,000. That goal was reached only 8 days after the fundraiser was created. The perks overall seemed pretty decent, and Tobuscus was insanely popular at the time, so it does not surprise me at all that the money was raised so quickly. However, I will say some of the perks were odd, like an invite to the game's launch party. I am very curious to know what it was like. If you are one of the 7 people who spent $800 on this perk, let me know immediately. Also, let me know if you spent $8,000 to get a tour of Tobuscus Inc. For $40,000, Tobuscus will sing a song about a trailer of something that you made, whether that be a video game or a movie, probably, etc. Unsurprisingly, nobody claimed it. For $400,000, you could go to space. I have no idea what this means, and of course nobody claimed it. As they gained more money, they added more stretch goals, like adding Toby's dog Griffin to the game. The fundraiser ended up earning over $600,000 by the time it ended in July 6, 2013. The game was originally promised to be released around Halloween of the same year, but was pushed back until March 20th, 2015, and it sold for $4.99. Toby claims the delay was because he wanted the game to be as best as it could be, and he kept making improvements.
I met with a few game studios and picked one that can definitely pull this off. We could make this game playable by Halloween.
And it's about killing zombies, so that's perfect.
Well, I'm not too sure. When looking up the game online, I found very little information on it. Even the wiki is completely blank. People seemed happy in the YouTube comments, but that's all I could tell for the most part. There's also not a whole lot of Let's Plays on the game, and the Steam version only has 11 reviews. My assumptions are that the 2-year wait for the game completely killed the hype. This was also around the time when Toby's channel started to take a slight decline in viewerships month to month, which obviously did not help. So when the game finally released, just not as many people cared anymore. Maybe it did get a lot of downloads, but I'm just simply guessing that it didn't get as many as Toby was hoping. The best info I got surrounding this was that it had 3,000 ratings on the App Store, so with all of that being said, it is no surprise that Toby's game fell into even further irrelevancy. The game did have its re-release on Steam in 2018 under the original name Tobuscus Adventures Wizards, and it sold for $7.99. Unfortunately, I do not know the exact date of when this was released. Toby posted this tweet on March 2nd of 2018, while the first Steam review was posted on May 9th of 2018. The game has since been rebranded to Wizard's Wand of Epicosity, and the cover features a generic-looking wizard instead of Tobuscus. I assume this is to take any mention of Tobuscus off of the game so people don't compare it to the controversy, despite Tobuscus being in the description of the game and the publisher being Tobuscus Game Studios, and not to mention the fact that the game still fully revolves around Toby. The name change also may be because the game is available on Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch, and perhaps they figured that the game's chances of getting approved on those consoles would be higher if Toby's name wasn't in the title. By the way, I assume it's sometime between 2018 and 2020 that the game was removed from mobile devices, but I am not sure. There are a whopping 11 reviews on this game on Steam, with only one of them being negative. The one negative review is only negative because they were robbed of 2 Steam copies of the game, along with the rest of the supporters from the fundraiser. There's another post in the discussions of this game where someone else who backed the game on Indiegogo never got the beta version they were promised. Those are the only posts I saw about people not getting the rewards from the Indiegogo, but I'm willing to bet there are more, so parts of the campaign may or may not have been a scam. I'm not positive. Okay, so I just explained the entire backstory behind the game, so how about we see some gameplay?
There once was a great good wizard sitting in a tower minding his business when a guy showed up named Tobuscus and he accidentally killed the wizard. Now he's caught up in a wizard war, a wicked war of wizards. Yeah. Alright, that's it.
I won't speak on the mobile version because I never got to play it. However, from watching Toby's Let's Plays of the mobile version, I don't think there's many differences. All I really noticed were touchscreen gimmicks, visual redesigns, and how the menus are laid out. However, I did find out that the story was changed on the Steam version. I'll point that out as it becomes relevant. So you boot up the game, or succumb to darkness as the game says. After that, you're greeted with this epic scene of Toby doing some epic wizard stuff as he looks to be in pain. And by the way, at all times in the corner of the screen, you will see text that reads development build. So it seems like whatever they put on Steam is not the final version of the game. I'm sure we'll hardly notice any problems anyway. I mean, Toby did stall this game for over a year to ensure its quality, so what could go wrong? The menu is so weird when you first open the game, as your options are change location, continue, and menu. Change location is just the map, and of course you don't have any locations unlocked yet, so you have to continue, which is odd considering you haven't even started yet. Alright, so we hit continue for some reason and we're given the first cutscene. Toby and Gabe are running away from zombies when they suddenly stumble upon a big wooden tower in the middle of a field. A wizard answers and lets them in. It then cuts to them leaving an elevator on the roof, or at least that's what happens in the Steam version. Toby uploaded all of the cutscenes to his YouTube channel back in 2015, so we can see exactly what was in the mobile version and what was cut. For example, an entire scene was cut out of the first cutscene. Originally, when they enter the tower, they talk about some paintings on the wall of 4 Indiegogo backers who paid to be in the game. The characters then banter and make jokes as they make their way to the roof. This change is very odd considering that the people in the paintings paid to be in the game, yet were completely cut. And they cut out an entire scene when they only really needed to cut the first 15 seconds of it. But whatever, I assume this change was made to help remove itself from Tobuscus as much as possible, or to remove these innocent people from associating with Tobuscus at all. Or perhaps they couldn't follow through with all of the promised rewards from the Indiegogo, so they rebranded the game and removed all mentions of it in hopes people would forget. So anyway, they're on the roof now. The wizard shows the two his spellbook that he can use to kill zombies when suddenly the Wizard of Darkness attacks. Toby insists on helping, but instead gets the wizard killed. Toby sees this as a sign from Destiny to use the spellbook to kill the zombies and kill the Wizard of Darkness. That's where the gameplay starts on the Steam version, but in the original there's 50 seconds more. The wizard explains he'll revive thanks to his ring.
I'll come back to life as soon as the cooldown wears off.
Oh, wow, that's so good. How long does it take for the cooldown to wear off?
About 2 months.
2 months real time or game development time?
How is that relevant?
I mean, oh man, I guess I'm gonna have to take over as wizard for a while then, huh?
I assume this is why this part was cut. Toby is making a joke about how long this game took to release, and as I talked about, it seems like any reference to the Indiegogo is forbidden. After that, the wizard tries to show Toby his collections of spells and runes, when suddenly the Wizard of Darkness blows them away. Then there's more jokes, and that's where it ends and the gameplay officially starts. The wizard now acts as a tutorial and explains how to play the game to us, and since the lore of how he'll revive was cut out entirely of the Steam game, I just assumed his ghost was talking to me for some reason and I didn't really question it. Plus, the cutscene that was removed also explains why you only start off with one spell, and get more as the game goes on. Again, if they want to erase all mention of the Indiegogo, they only need to remove a few seconds from these cutscenes, yet they removed the entire ending, leading to things just simply never being explained. So anyway, the wizard is giving you a tutorial, which is all fine and dandy, but listen to him when you accidentally go faster than the game wants you to.
If you find any tacky vases on the map, destroy them with your wand and do the work. You found a wizard's robe.
Whoa, I look awesome now!
Alright, so what's the gameplay like? It's a tower defense game, but not the fun kind like Balloon Tower Defense. You're in a tower on a fixed location, and you have to cast spells on the zombies approaching you to stop them from attacking the tower. You use your mouse to select a target, press 1 through 4 to choose your spells, or control to stun them. Press R to refill your mana, and F to refill your health. When every level is over, an indestructible murder goblin approaches, so you have to press T to teleport away. When you beat each level, it shows you how many coins and gems you collected, how many stars you got, how long it took you, and how many zombies you killed. As you gather more spells, you can customize what you bring into each level, along with customizing your character, and the character models leave a lot to be desired, to say the least. You can buy upgrades and potions in the shop, and that's essentially the game for you. As the game goes on, you get more ways to attack, like Griffin landmines and maybe some other stuff that I don't know about because I got completely stuck in the game and I don't know how to advance. You see, when Tobuscus is slain, you restart the level to try again, but the tutorial never comes back. So when I was taught the Griffin bomb, I was also told that I needed to stun enemies before attacking them. I didn't catch that the first time I played, and since the tutorial didn't come back, I initially gave up. Once I played back the footage, I realized what he said, but I still struggled very hard on the level. Maybe there's a more intuitive way to beat this level, but I couldn't find any information on it since there's no guides or walkthroughs. Toby's Let's Play of the game even conveniently ends right before this level, so maybe it's actually impossible. I may be doing this completely wrong, but I have no idea, and I do not care enough to spend the time to figure it out. Maybe I would have been more motivated to figure it out if I was enjoying the game a bit more. I found out that you can typically teleport very early on in each level once you just get 1 star. So that's what I did every chance I got. Before I found that out, I thought you had to make it to the end when the murder goblin shows up before you can teleport, but that's only how you get 3 stars. And every time I tried for 3 stars, I just kept getting my butt kicked. Eventually, I was able to beat these levels with 3 stars thanks to buying some stuff in the shop, but you don't need to do that to move on in the game. Instead, you can easily do the bare minimum without even thinking and move on. However, the game is just too easy this way, and it's too difficult when you're going for 3 stars. Meanwhile, none of this game is fun to begin with, so naturally, this is where I stopped playing the game. I can't imagine I'm going to see anything that would change my opinion if I kept playing. There's only 20 levels in this game and I played 7 of them. Good enough for me. Either way, the best parts of the game were the cutscenes. Once you finish the first level and teleport away, the wizard explains how he's tracking down all of the spells and runes that the Wizard of Darkness scattered around, which is very random if you're playing on Steam, since the original explanation of how the spells were scattered around was completely taken out. The wizard then explains how to teleport, buy items from the shop, and a few other things. The footage that you've been watching from this cutscene comes from the mobile version. On Steam, they decide to hide what the mobile version of the game looks like, and instead of redoing the visuals so it could look like the Steam's version, they decide to put a 2-second loop of the tower flying in place. Here you can see me trying to adjust the window because I thought the game was glitched, but no, that's just the cutscene. And now listen to how it ends on the Steam version.
Don't forget to find it before teleporting.
Sounds pretty cut off, doesn't it? Well, that's because the original version has a part where they explain microtransactions and how they work. I get why they removed this part entirely, as microtransactions are no longer a part of the game, but I have no doubts they could have done a much better job at ending this. The third cutscene just explains how you can use Griffin to plant bombs. Both versions of the cutscenes are the exact same, except when they show the mobile screen. Here they cover it up with Griffin panting. And there's also this weird moment of black where it seems like they just made a mistake and never fixed it. Not to mention that it cuts off at the end, again.
Man, you are the weirdest person I've ever accidentally killed.
Unfortunately, this is where I stopped playing the game. I will no longer be able to give you the comparisons between the two versions. At this point, I'm sure we can all expect what level of quality to expect from the Steam version anyway. From this point on, I will only be talking about the mobile version. In the next cutscene, Toby finds all the pieces to the Frost rune, and then the wizard tells him that he can enter the lava levels with that rune. That's it. This time, even the YouTube video slightly cuts off at the end.
When you're ready to lower your lifespan.
Toby then finds another piece of a rune and tries to put it together, but he cannot. Meanwhile, we're hearing the same sound effect of two pieces of cement rubbing against each other over and over, despite that not being what Toby is doing with the runes in the video. Once I hear it, I cannot focus on anything else, which is incredibly annoying as this scene is over a minute long and Toby and the wizard are just rambling about literally nothing important and just telling bad jokes.
Here goes nothing. Literally, because nothing is happening.
Uh-oh.
Dude, there's no way these things fit together.
Well, I for one hope they do, because if not...
Yeah, I know. Don't say anything. It's not gonna help.
Okay, just making sure you know.
Yeah, I know. Don't say anything.
That everyone...
Yeah, I know.
In the world would be made immortal.
Yep.
Then suddenly the runes connect and the wizard tells Toby to upgrade his wand to the Wand of Epicosity and to fight the Wizard of Darkness.
Now go upgrade your wand to the Wand of Epicosity and give him a battle he won't remember 'cause he'll be dead.
Alright, so now the entire gang is outside the Wizard of Darkness's castle, so naturally they confront the Wizard of Darkness. Here, Toby and the wizard just obnoxiously and pointlessly roast each other for almost 2 minutes. Then the wizard reveals he's using Tim Tim as a human host so he can survive. And you just need to watch this next part for yourself.
I don't have a dictionary, but I do have your birth certificate.
Okay.
Do you know what the difference between mortals and immortals is?
Eternity?
A prefix.
That's not how that works. On the contrary, combining the fire and ice runes creates a magical wizard steam. When applied to an enchanted wizard legal document, the changes of a word carry over into reality.
What? Dude, you could have totally stopped me while he was explaining that.
This is so stupid and specific. I have so many questions like how did they ever find this out in the first place? But whatever, I guess the wizard is mortal now. I know what you might be thinking, why am I so upset about this game having a bad plot? It's just a comedy and made by Tobuscus after all. While I do completely understand where you're coming from, in my opinion, the best part and the biggest draw to playing this game are the cutscenes. And if the cutscenes are bad, this game has no legs to stand on. So I think it's fair to point out how bad the plot is. I assume here is where the final boss would take place as this is now the final cutscene. Tim Tim is lying unconscious until Toby wakes him up. Toby just makes jokes at Tim Tim's expense per usual, until he eventually leaves Tim Tim alone to figure out how to get out of wherever they are by himself. He then sees what I assume is supposed to be the spellbook Toby was using, despite the spellbook not previously being read. Maybe there's a color change during some gameplay, maybe that's a different spellbook, I don't know. It then cuts to a crowd cheering on Toby for killing the Wizard of Darkness.
You did it, Tobuscus! Yes, I did it. I did.
The best, Tobuscus!
Yes, I know.
I'm so glad I donated!
I know. You said it was just gonna take 2 months. Hey, what's up, girl?
I can't wait until your next game.
Ha! What?
The one where you get thrown into the sun! Subscribe.
That's right, the ending of this game is an advertisement for Toby's next game, Mine the Diamond, that came out on June 18th, 2015.
Hello once again, audience. I just put out a new freaking iOS game and it's free and I'm really excited about it. Check it out. So you can go in the store, you can spend 99 cents on stuff, which you, of course you should do that. Flappy Drill, if you buy that, that's 99 cents. It sucks, but it turns the game kind of into a sideways Flappy Bird. Each one of these guys has custom voiceover. Dude, I'm so excited. And it's got this song that I'm talking over. All right, check it out. Dude, oh, and it's free. It's called Mine the Diamond. If you guys want to download it, I would love you always. I mean, I'll physically love you anyways, as it is, but you know, I'm talking emotionally. So this game is very frustrating. You're gonna hate it probably for the whole time. Maybe if you play for hours in a coffee shop. I can't look at you, God, son. There's ads. and the ads suck. There's like this, we had to put ads in because, you know, it's like freaking expensive to make that. Nowhere near freaking Wizards. If you guys haven't played Wizards, please play it. It's so freaking fun. But it costs $5, so this is free. I'm talking really fast. I'm not really saying anything. Oh, get up in the sky with Lucy. Toby, that's a drug reference. No, it's a Beatles reference. I've never done that. I'm gonna pause it. This game is called Mind the Diamond. If you're good enough, you can get up to the sun and your skin melts off and you're just a skeleton. Thanks for watching.
Is Wizard's Wand of Epicosity worth buying? No, of course not. Did you watch the video? Speaking of games made by Tobuscus, there's a moment in one of his original Indiegogo announcement videos where he mentions that he intends to make more Tobuscus games, and here he shows a screenshot with a character that looks exactly like Scott Pilgrim. Regardless, I'm sure it's safe to say that this minigame will never see the light of day.
You know what big peepees do? They play PewDiePie's Pixelings, of course.
Come on. Now I want to circle back and talk about Pewds with Pixelings. I absolutely hate this game. Now, I'm not a hater of Pewds games in general. I enjoyed his first two a fair amount, albeit they weren't flawless. But this one just does not do it for me. So, am I alone in feeling this way? Pixelings never seemed to be talked about much by fans, even when it was new. I've even seen plenty of people say they didn't even know PewDiePie had more video games. Which strikes me as odd since he put trailers at the end of his videos promoting the game just like he did with Tuber Simulator. On Google Play, the game has 1 million plus downloads and 97.9 thousand reviews. For context, Tuber Simulator has 10 million plus downloads and 2.03 million reviews. I only mentioned the comparison to give context on how successful the game is since I don't have much else to go off. Apple's App Store shows similar numbers with Tuber Simulator having 5 times the amount of reviews as Pixelings. The vast majority of ratings are positive. It has a 4.6 and 4.9 on Google Play and the App Store respectively, so clearly people enjoyed it. I have no idea what metrics PewDiePie would use, but from what I can tell, I would call this game an overall success.
Over a bazillion players have downloaded, and it's got a perfect score. It's safe to say it's the most popular game of all time.
Never mind, forget what I said. I clearly do not know what I'm talking about. So, why do I not like the game? To answer that, I'll have to show off the game for you. The game released on November 15th, 2019. It was made by Outer Minds, the same team who made the other two PewDiePie games. When you first open the game, you're greeted with a cutscene where Pewds explained that he summoned us, the players, to help him with his show. But before you know it, Maya comes out saying that the spell was too strong and that it attracted enemies. So first impressions, this game looks cute. In a video, Felix mentioned that all the animation is hand-drawn, and I think it pays off as it looks really nice and cute. I will say you could argue that it's an odd choice to include barrels as an enemy since this game was made in 2019, and the barrels meme is only becoming more and more dated as time goes on. Personally, I think it's kind of cool to have recurring enemies and characters in these games. Like, barrels are essentially the Goomba of the PewDiePie gaming franchise. If you pay enough attention, you'll even notice many throwbacks to each of Pewds' other games as well, which I think is really cool. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We need to pay attention to the tutorial.
Let's go through the basics so you can help me defeat these barrels. This is your bench. Pixelings in here can be deployed on the field.
Just kidding, I'll explain it a little bit faster than that. This game is a real-time idle RPG. You fight enemies with Pixelings, who are these tiny little creatures. You place them down and swap them around depending on your situation. There's a few different ways Pixelings can attack. Some will attack the enemy in the middle, others will attack the enemy directly across from them, and the rest will attack the enemy with the lowest amount of health. Along with this, they all have special abilities that they can use once after every 3 attacks. There are 4 different types of specials a Pixeling can have. They can boost damage, give defense, heal, and either stun, drain HP, or poison the enemy. There's also quite a bit of different types of Pixelings. I really love the variety and uniqueness with them. Do not forget you also have spells that you can cast during battle. All of this does call for a decent amount of strategy, and I think the combat is fun and satisfying. Once you beat a level, your Pixelings will level up and you can customize your team before moving on to the next level. There's also apparently skins, but to my knowledge I never unlocked any. At the start of each level there's a short cutscene that advances the plot, and speaking of the plot, it is not anything special. It's kind of charming and funny, but overall I didn't care for it most of the time. I wish they worked on the story just a little bit more and put the cutscene before every few levels as opposed to before every single level. But hey, if you enjoy the story, then that's awesome. It just was not for me. Also, this game isn't completely linear. Once in a while, you'll have an optional level to beat, which is fine, but I partially feel like they were just added so they could say this game has branching paths or something. There are also a couple other game modes. There's trials where you battle until you lose and PvP. Just do not expect to get a match with anybody in PvP nowadays. It's a shame that PvP takes so long to match because I can see potential for some fun here. In a video where Felix first played Pixelings on his channel, he says that they wanted to make this game more competitive, so it's sad to see that the PvP is no longer a solid part of the game. However, the trials are kind of fun. If I got a little bit more into this game, I could 100% see myself going hard trying to play for as long as possible. There's also guilds in the game. I joined FNAF crew. Oh wow, it's a mid-editing update. Who would have seen this coming? So this is the point in the video where I talk about the main reasons I hate the game. However, I just did some research in the middle of my editing and I found out that the main reason that I hate the game was stupid. So I was initially struggling on what I'm gonna do for the second half of this video. Like, do I just change everything? Do I scrap the video? Do I rewrite the entire script? But then I realized I don't need to change my point too much because it still stands if you look at it from a different angle. I know that might sound a little bit weird, but just bear with me here. So now I'll explain why I don't like the game and I'll interject when I need to make myself clear. Look at this menu. What am I looking at? There's too many things to press, too many exclamation marks. It's way too flashy and way too confusing to look at. It's overkill, and not just visually, I feel like there's way too many small features here and there. For example, there's energy, something that I have never ran out of, and I'm not 100% sure what it's supposed to do and how you run out of it. And even as I'm talking about this, I'm not even sure if I've clicked on everything here. There's just a lot going on and a lot to keep up with. I still agree with everything I said there, but here's what I messed up. The UI issue was originally only a small part of my problem, until I found out it's the entire problem. My initial biggest gripe with the game was just the entire idle system to begin with. Now, I don't mind idle games, I find them very enjoyable sometimes. And my old opinion was that the idle portion of the game just doesn't belong here. So you can get pixelings and other goodies from completing levels, but the main way you get powerful pixelings is through the idle system. You have eggs that you have to hatch, and once you do, you'll be rewarded with a new pixeling. So what initially happened was I thought getting these pixelings from eggs was the main way you could get more powerful pixelings. And I thought that was so stupid because that would have meant that if you don't feed into the idle side, you'll become underpowered in the game. Before I looked at the idle side and was just playing the game casually, what happened to me was I got stuck on a level and I could not beat it at all. I played the level so many times trying to think of a way to beat it, but I just couldn't. I put the game down for a few days until I picked it up again, only for the same thing to happen. That's when I started exploring this atrocious menu and learned about the idle system. I then waited for my eggs to hatch and beat the level first try, and I felt nothing. I thought that was not a satisfying way to beat a hard level. I was thinking I could have had the smartest, biggest brain strategy ever, but at the end of the day, it was never going to matter. I thought all I had to do was just wait for an egg to hatch and then the win would be handed to me. I was thinking this hardly even counts as a video game at this point. As far as I could tell, the gameplay loop was fight, get stuck, wait, win, fight, get stuck, wait, win, and what kind of game is that? However, it turns out that is not completely the case. I was missing out on the entire upgrading system. I found out about this through a video by Phone Cats.
God, I don't know if I'm a dum-dum or not, but I couldn't figure out how to upgrade cards in PewDiePie's Pixelings. So I can upgrade a couple cards. I can either go here, and the ones that have a little green number on the top right, I can upgrade. But I couldn't figure out what to do. I tried clicking on the bubble. I tried clicking on that. You gotta press and hold on the unit, and then there's a little upgrade button. I think when you can actually upgrade the card, that needs to be flashing. Because us tiny brain mobile gamers, dude, there's no way that people are gonna figure out the long press.
In other words, this all just goes back to how awful the UI is in this game. Let me show you an example of a good menu. A good menu from the same game development team, that is. There's continue, new, options, more. That's it. Very simple, very easy. It's not coin boost, whatever these are, or whatever these are. Oh, the play's down at the bottom for some reason. Oh, the entire middle is a button? I didn't know that. Oh, this is how you access the idle portion. You just click on the nothingness course, that is right there, duh. I know what some of you guys are thinking right now. You're thinking, oh, so you hate this game because you can't figure out a menu, nerd emoji? To that, I have a couple things to say. First of all, UI is very, very important. Why do you think so many apps like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Netflix even keep updating their UIs? The goal of a good UI is to make the experience as easy as possible for the user. And I think it's fair to say that Pixelings just doesn't do that. It looks like they added as many bells and whistles to the game as possible so that kids just randomly click everything and then sometimes things happen, but more importantly, things are colorful and all vibrant. So no matter what, I am going to at least dock points for the awful UI. And I cannot ignore how its terrible UI made me not even realize there was an entire mechanic of the game to be had, which resulted in me misunderstanding how the game is supposed to be played and getting frustrated. Not to mention, I am not the only one who had this problem. A fair rebuttal would be, okay, so now that you understand the mechanics and the UI of the game, why are you still hating on it? To that I say, first of all, no matter the case, my first few hours in this game will forever be tainted thanks to the UI. And in my opinion, you can't blame someone for their biases as long as they make it clear that their reasoning is because of a bias. This game is bogged down by its terrible UI, but if you can get past that, then there is a lot of fun to be had. The combat is fun, the story gets in the way too often, but at least you can skip it. The other two game modes look cool, too bad one of them is dead. I had fun at the start, but I don't want to go back. And that is because of the leveling system and the idle system. I pictured this game getting overpowered really quickly. Like I said earlier, I got one pixeling from an egg and then steamrolled multiple levels because of it. Imagine if I was also leveling up the entire time. I imagine I would just steamroll for a while, and when I no longer can, I would just wait for the next egg to hatch, and then I could keep going like nothing happened. In the comments of PhoneCat's video that I showed you earlier, I saw PewDiePie pixeling veterans, or whatever you want to call them, bring up similar points to what I said. I feel like the main campaign of Pixelings hardly even counts as a game at this point. It just feels like busy work with charming visuals and PewDiePie's name slapped on it to make it sell well. I don't say this to make fun of Pewds or Adderminds at all. I do think they tried to make a decent game here. If anything, I do feel like I have more of a cynical view on this. And I completely understand if someone disagrees with my take, and I think most people do given the ratings on the App Store and Google Play. In general, I do see the appeal to the game, and I'm sure most people who enjoyed it and left a review were people who went into this game with a way more casual mindset than myself. Do not let me stop you from enjoying this game. If you think the game looks fun, then definitely give it a try, and I hope you enjoy it. Ethan and Ela Klein are a married couple who co-founded the YouTube channel H3H3 Productions together. H3H3 used to be a very successful and very beloved channel. During what most people would consider their golden era, most of their videos were reactions and commentaries on many different topics and people. The two started uploading less and less on their main channel, and instead started focusing more on their podcast. Eventually, their podcast took over as their main form of content. Podcast channel was and is still very successful. However, due to the unfiltered nature of podcasts, people started to view them in a different light. I could go into much more detail about the two and about their YouTube careers, but that's just not what I'm here to do today, and there's already so many videos that cover this exact topic. So instead, what I want to cover is their very weird relationship with video games. In 2018, they worked together with Adderminds to create their very own mobile game. However, we'll talk about that later, as that's not the weird part of this video. Many YouTubers already have their own mobile games, but what most YouTubers don't have is their own DLC in Payday 2. Payday 2 is a 4-person co-op shooter where you work together to pull off many different types of heists. And Ethan and Ela are two YouTubers. They're not even YouTubers who play Payday 2 on their channel, or even have a gaming channel to begin with. So why are they in the game, you ask? Well, according to the lore, Ethan is proof that you can never really know what's going on inside Bane's head. For context, Bane is the contractor of all the heists in the game. His skills in public relations and engagement attracted the interest of Bane, who convinced him and his wife Hila to join the Payday gang with the promises of restitution, fortune, and glory. Rumor has it that Hila underwent extreme training in the Israel military, and while she keeps denying it publicly, something definitely caught Bane's attention when he asked her and Ethan to join the gang. But in reality, their inclusion started April 1st, 2017, as a very random and goofy April Fool's joke by Overkill, the company who made Payday 2. This wasn't the first time they've done a joke like this for April Fools, but it was certainly the first time their joke became a reality. It released on November 22nd, 2017 for $4.99. None of the revenue from this DLC goes to Overkill but to H3H3. The goal was to help pay for their legal fees regarding their copyright lawsuit. I'm not sure why Overkill had a specific interest in H3H3 to begin with, but hey, I'm not here to argue. This ended up being a very charitable DLC. However, the majority majority of the Payday 2 community did not seem to be thrilled about this. On Steam, the reviews are mixed. Most of the positive reviews seem to be from H3 fans, people reviewing it as a joke, and people happy with the funds going to help them. A good amount of positive reviews also start with a statement like, let's ignore the fact that H3 are in this pack, and then proceed to rate the DLC positively for other features. And people seem to dislike this DLC because it's fucking weird, the models are ugly, the voice acting is bad, and I mean obviously some people don't like the couple for one reason or another. So let's break down these reasons. To start, it's obvious why the two just don't belong in a game like this. It's incredibly random. They're two former commentary and react YouTubers who now exclusively podcast in their mid-30s. Why the hell are they in a game about heists? Aside from maybe people who just don't like the two, I don't think anyone's complaining about where the money is going, but I do think it's a fair argument to say that these two could ruin the integrity of the game, for one reason or another. I mean, their real-life backstories as YouTubers are in the game, and their special perk that they come with is literally a vape.
Vape Nation!
With that being said, I am no Payday 2 expert, so I don't know if there's other weird DLC characters, but this one in specific did rile up the fan base a bit. Regardless, I mean, just look at them. Not only are the models ugly in general, but Ethan is purposely made to look stupid with his tight clothes and double chin. Don't get me wrong, it's very on brand for Ethan. They even gave his custom mask a beanie. But at the end of the day, his model is a complete meme. And Hila's model literally just doesn't even look like her at all. There's a vague resemblance there at best. In their announcement video, Ethan even agrees that Hila's model does not look good.
Let me get a look at you.
Give me a yell.
Man, I gotta tell you. You weren't too kind on me, I gotta be honest. Weren't super kind.
And now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there can't be meme characters or cosmetics in this game. I mean, I have a chicken mask for crying out loud. So when you take the memes aside, these models are still just ugly. Now let's talk about their voice lines.
Honestly, since we've been doing the voiceover, Hila's been scaring the shit out of me. You can see how she's dressed here. I'm always walking on eggshells. Listen to this.
Fuck you! They better fear Hila! Kill these assholes! Die, assholes! Just kill the fucks! I'll pop their asses! I care, and I kill.
I feel like that sums up Hila's voice lines pretty well. Hila has a more monotone and laid-back way of speaking in general, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course. It just doesn't lend itself to being a natural when it comes to voice acting, especially when there's very violent and expressive lines.
It kind of came out like a question, like, fuck you? Or not.
They talked about how she had voice acting lessons, and I'm sure over time she got better, but at the end of the day, I think her lack of experience clearly shines through in the end result.
A quiet hostage is a survivor, remember that?
Now onto Ethan's lines.
We may be in Washington, but England will always be my city. I feel like Shrek, and you're in my swamp! Watch out, bitch, it's evil, Ethan! Don't get Bradbury! Don't forget to subscribe, bitch! You can't take me out, I'll dab on the devil!
Not that this feels super professional or anything, but I feel like Ethan at least has more expression in his lines, and they don't sound as forced. But now there's a blatant problem of how unfunny these are. Feel free to disagree with me, and maybe I'm on the outs on this one, but Shrek jokes have not been funny since 2015. Hey, I still like the movies, but oh my god, the internet has been oversaturated with Shrek memes for almost a decade now. And if you're a Payday 2 fan, well, you might just be forced to listen to more Shrek jokes while you play the game. By the way, it's not just Ethan's lines. Hila has her fair share of meme lines too.
Hey, has Ethan asked you for a pizza already?
To be fair, the comedy is aligned with H3's typical comedy, and I do think some of the lines are funny.
Hey, Control, I think we should be looking out for Humongous. I heard he's in the area, so keep a close eye.
But personally, I think there's more unfunny than funny lines in the game. And with the more amateur voice acting, I don't feel like it fits well in Payday 2. And given the reception, I don't think I'm alone with feeling this way. That's all I have to say on their Payday 2 DLC. They feel out of place in concept and execution. They don't have the best voiceovers, but do in fact have the ugliest models. And the couple essentially admitted to agreeing with both of those things in their reveal video.
It kind of came out like a question, like, fuck you? Or not?
You weren't too kind on me, I gotta be honest. Weren't super kind.
Now let's move on to their very own mobile game, H3H3 Ball Rider. The game is made by Outer Minds, the same team that made Tuber Simulator, Legend of the Brofist, and Pixelings. Speaking of Outer Minds, one of their co-founders actually commented on my Pixeling videos with a really cool message, which is of course always awesome to see, so I really want to show them some love here real quick. So far I've enjoyed 2 out of 3 of the games that I've played by them, and for the one I didn't like, I could really tell how much love and care they put into the game, and don't think I didn't see that cheeky little little promotion you snuck in that comment. But jokes aside, they do seem like a passionate team and I look forward to their future releases. So with that being said, how well did they do with H3H3 Ball Rider?
Introducing H3H3 Productions' first mobile game, H3 Ball Rider. Play as the heroic Keela Klein as she mounts Ethan's voluptuous fupa and controls his sweat to victory.
The first thing I noticed was how just vibey the game is aesthetically. From the art, to the music, to the narrations, this game is a vibe. Which is impressive given the game is about Gila riding Ethan as a ball who is being propelled by sweat. And I will say the vibes also align with our clothing company Teddy Fresh. Theming wise, that's obviously perfect, so right now they're getting bonus points.
Ugh, where are we? Why am I so thick and sweaty?
I think this goes to show how to handle Ethan and Hila in a game properly, unlike what Payday 2 did. So anyway, we're off to a great start. Let's get into the gameplay. You hold down with your right thumb to make Ethan move, or sweat, and your left thumb controls Hila, who acts as a directional pointer. In the tutorial levels, your goal is to make it to the end of each level before the time runs out. But after the tutorial, the levels are endless, and the goal is to make it as far as you can before the time runs out. And once it does run out, you can jump a few times to gain some distance with Hila. If you pass through a checkpoint as Hila, Ethan will actually come back and you can keep going. There's these green orbs you can collect throughout the levels to give you more time. There's of course many obstacles to play around, power-ups to help out, and chests to collect. Chests are not only a pun, but they introduce an idle side of the game. I will say the idle side is not intrusive at all. It just gives you cosmetics, money, and power-ups. It's nothing mandatory, which I always appreciate. There's a generous amount of cosmetics and power-ups in the game. There's 8 worlds in total, and you gradually unlock them as you play more. I haven't unlocked them all yet, as I'd have to play for a good while to do so, but for the ones I have played, I would say there's a decent amount of variety to each level, and the theme changes are always refreshing. There's also 2 races you can compete in at any given time, assuming you have the tickets of course. This is just an extra mode where you can race against other people. It's nothing crazy, but a nice touch. So overall, how do I feel about the game? Honestly, it's pretty fun. The movement is very fluid and the levels give you a lot to work with. I could feel myself getting better and better at the game the more I played, and I would be lying if I said this game wasn't addictive. Between the music, the vibes, the levels, the customization, the fluid gameplay, and the subtle humor, I don't have much to complain about. I guess my biggest complaint would be the fact that you have to be level 35 to unlock every single level, and I just don't think this game will hold up long enough for me to unlock it. With that being said, the 2 races will put you in worlds you haven't unlocked yet, so even if you don't get to level 35, I'm pretty sure you should still be able to at least play every level, but with the downside of races not being endless. I don't think there's much more to dive into about this game, which makes sense as it's just a simplistic mobile game, a fun one at that. If what you've seen looks fun, then I would 100% recommend this game. Even if you're not an H3 fan, you can still easily have fun here. And if you are an H3 fan, you'll get even more out of the game.
I'm on the version of a heat stroke, feeling a little tired, a little dehydrated. I think I'm gonna take a nap. Everyone, have fun and enjoy. I'll see you on the other side of life.
Smosh is a popular YouTube channel that currently has over 25 million subscribers. Its origins go all the way back to 2002, where high school student Anthony Padilla made a website called Smosh.com. It started as a place for Anthony and his friends to get together and hang out. However, over time, the website gained more and more popularity across his high school and the entire internet. Anthony posted a couple of videos on the website of him and his friend Ian Heacock lip syncing. However, since Anthony owned the website, he had to pay for the bandwidth himself, meaning the more views his videos got, the more he had to pay out of his own pocket. One day he noticed that somebody that he didn't know uploaded their Mortal Kombat lip syncing video to a website called YouTube. That gave Anthony and Ian their idea to create their very own YouTube account. Thus, the Smosh YouTube channel was born. Their first viral hit was them lip syncing to the Pokemon theme song. That video gained over 24 million views, and at one point was the most viewed video on YouTube of all time. It unfortunately was eventually removed due to copyright, but that did not slow them down from pursuing YouTube. From there, the two made comedy sketch after comedy sketch after comedy sketch for years and years. At 3 different points, they were even the most subscribed to channel on all of YouTube. Their quality kept improving and they weren't afraid to try new things as they grew bigger and bigger. As time went on, they naturally branched out with more YouTube channels and new cast members. What started as 2 kids goofing around online turned into a giant company with a big production production team. Along with their YouTube empire, Smosh periodically released other forms of media like mobile apps, video games, magazines, a comic, and even movies. But today, I just want to focus on their mobile apps and video games. Their first mobile app was actually sponsored by Google back in 2010.
I call it the Shut Up app. Say something to the phone.
Like what?
Shut up!
Whoa, it's...
Shut up! You see, every time you say something to the phone, it tells you to shut up, and I'm selling it for $1.
Yep, that's it. It was a mobile app that sold for $1 that would yell "shut up" at you whenever you spoke to it. If you didn't know, for the longest time, all of their videos would open with a different shut up gag.
Shut up!
This was a truly revolutionary app. Too bad it's no longer available for download. Their second app and first mobile game was called Super Head Sploders X.
So, what are you doing over there?
Oh, I'm just playing Super Head Exploder X. It's this game where you get to explode people's heads. Right now, I'm actually exploding my mom's head for setting me up with this stupid therapy session.
It was released in February 2013 for the Apple App Store. It's a game where you play as Ian, or more specifically, Ian's character Billy. You just float through the air while dodging and shooting at all the obstacles, collecting coins and power-ups. The main gimmick here was that you could take a picture of yourself, your friends, or really anyone or anything, and you could shoot them. There's also a bunch of Smosh references in here, of course. There were 5 levels in total with a survival mode. In 2016, it also released on Android devices with updated graphics and reworked stages. But unfortunately, it's no longer available for download. If you want to see more of this game, check out the videos they made on Smosh Games. It is full of 2013 chaotic Let's Play energy. They even set a grape on fire. Later in 2013, they also started their campaign for Food Battle the game. But before I talk about that, first I'll tell you about the official Smosh app released in February 2014. All it was a hub where you could watch all kinds of Smosh content in one handy app. And of course, it no longer exists. It was kind of cool, I guess. I had it myself, but that's pretty much it. There's not much else to it. Alright, back to Food Battle. Food Battle was a very popular annual Smosh series that ran for over 10 years. The premise was that Ian and Anthony would compete to see whose favorite food could do more everyday tasks. The series was beloved and had many running gags, like how Ian's favorite food was always the pink frosted sprinkle donuts, while Anthony's favorite food was always changing, but it always happened to be a phallic-shaped food, aside from the last Food Battle where it was a vegan pink frosted sprinkle donuts. In Food Battle 2009, one of the gags was to see if their food could be a video game.
Come on, Burrito, let's play Donut Massacre 64! Die, donuts! Yeah!
That Donut 64 gag gave them their first inspiration for what would later become Food Battle the game. Fun fact, I used to have the poster of Donut Massacre 64. These are the only 2 pictures I could find of it. Also in 2012, I tweeted at them saying that I want a Food Battle video for their next upload. They replied saying too bad, and I was so excited they replied to me that I even posted that screenshot on Facebook. So now that you understand my credentials as a Food Battle expert, let's begin. In 2013, they started a fundraiser for the game on Indiegogo. Their goal was to raise $250,000. At the time, there was a bit of controversy surrounding their asking price, with people saying it was way more than they needed. On the Indiegogo, a bunch of perks were available, like Ian's naked drawing of Anthony, and Anthony's naked drawing of Ian. I could not find either of these pictures online, so if you happen to have a copy of either one of them, please send them to me on Twitter so I can, use them for more research purposes. When they only had $56,000 left to raise, they had a 7-hour live stream to help finish raising the money.
How's it going? This is the sexiest pose I've ever been in on a couch with another man.
You gotta stop now. Okay, sorry.
Here they added even more perks, like selling Ian and Anthony's shoes, belts, shirts, and for them to twerk for 2 minutes straight. Wow, 2013 Smosh fans sure were lucky. Given their fabulous live stream and amazing perks, it is no surprise that soon after that stream, they managed to reach their goal.
We did it! Guys! We actually did it, guys!
Yeah!
You are amazing! Oh my god, I can't even believe we actually did it.
I never had any doubts.
Ian was just so confident. He's just the most confident guy in the world.
A couple weeks ago, Anthony went on the Trash Taste podcast, and he actually talked about how Defy handled the fundraiser and Food Battle the game in general. Here's what he had to say.
There was a fundraiser that they
they put on. It was for a game.
Yeah.
And they had just seen the success of other people who had done fundraisers for games, Indiegogo, GoFundMe type things.
Yeah.
And they raised like $250,000 for like these games, which were like mobile games, but you could play it on the computer. And it was like this really cool thing with all these inside jokes from the community.
Right.
And they said, oh, that's cool, guys, you do that. And then we were like, we don't have a concept for a game. They're like, we'll figure it out later. You just raise some money.
They just made the fundraiser, and then they were, afterwards they were like, make the game.
And we said, we need to have something to pitch to people. We need, and then they're like, cool, we'll just tell them the idea then. And then they're like, you come up with the idea. So I came up with the idea. Ian, of course, also. We both came up with the idea. And they were like, cool, you got the idea. Let's do it. And I was like, we need to have concept art. We need to like show a build of the game. We need to be able to show what we want to do with this thing. And they're like, we don't have time. Okay, we'll get concept art. So all we were able to do was launch with this concept art.
Wow. Oh my god.
And launching a campaign, asking people, incentivizing your fans to give you money. Well, that did not it did not feel right to me, but I felt backed up into a corner.
So anyway, over a year after the campaign had reached its goal, in November 2014, the game was finally released for free on Android and iOS. I wish I had played the game, but unfortunately I never did when it came out. And on August 4th, 2017, the developers updated the Indiegogo one last time. There they announced its removal from all app stores. I'm still of course going to show it off the best I can, but I gotta say this game was not very well documented at all. Most of the videos I found were like this.
Hey guys, Supers, just here, and I'm going to be telling you about the new section I'm going to have on my channel called Games.
And unfortunately, I could not find a video nor description of the full plot. The game's wiki has a full list of the characters, locations, and weapons, but not the story. There's 30 levels in the game in total. However, I was only able to find levels 1 through 13, 17 through 19, 26, and 28 through 30. I'm not sure why this person only uploaded these levels, but hey, I'm not complaining, I'll take what I can get. I'll be linking the videos I watched to put this video together in the description. Definitely go show them some love, as without them there'd be almost nothing about this game online. So obviously I won't be able to show you the full game, but I'll be able to paint a good picture of what the game is like. Here's the opening cutscene.
Shut up! A while back, everything was going tickety-boo here in the village of Tickpot. But then suddenly an evil horde of mutant donuts attacked. Anthony tried to help, but he was knocked out like a little when they kidnapped our friends. Fortunately, Ian sent the bastards packing when he opened up a huge-ass can of whoop-ass. Or at least that's what they tell me. I don't know, I was f***ing sozzled.
So if you're not familiar with your Smosh characters, or it's just been a while, let me help you out. The intro is narrated by Charlie the Drunk Guinea Pig. Charlie was a recurring British and constantly drunk guinea pig character. He even had his own YouTube channel that ran for just over a year. He was also Ian's real-life guinea pig. There's Teleporting Fat Guy, who's just from an old Smosh video.
Well, I'm the teleporting fat guy.
Yeah, that's essentially the entire thing. He also had his own cartoon show over on Shut Up Cartoons. Shut Up Cartoons being Smosh's cartoon channel. It ran for over 2 years and I would love to tell you more about it, but I never watched it myself. There's Ian's mom, who was a reoccurring character, and Ian's real-life mother. There's Stevie, who is another reoccurring character. He is meant to be the annoying and dumb character in most sketches. Stevie was actually a character who fans voted into the game. At the time, I was confused as to how he won the most votes, because even then, I found him annoying. But for better or for worse, he's in the game. In level 2, they even poke fun at the fact that he made it in to begin with. There's of course Ian and Anthony and Girl, who I assume is either just a random girl or a girl from the Indiegogo. After the cutscene, Charlie basically recaps what just happened with Anthony. Anthony then sets out on a quest to rescue his captured friends. With the help of Teleporting Fat Guy, of course. Teleporting Fat Guy's only role that I know of is teleporting you in and out of levels. Now you can officially start the game. It's a 3D single-player action-adventure game. At the start, there's a guy who says that donuts molested him, which I feel like is a joke you wouldn't see nowadays. There's a few donuts you kill along the way, stars and a chest to collect, you press a button to open a path, and at the end you free Ian's mom and teleport back to the hub world, Tickpot. You move around by dragging where you want to go, and you presumably attack by tapping on the enemies and objects. As you can see, you start off the game with a celery weapon, celery being Anthony's second favorite food from Food Battle 2007. You can also dash by swiping fast. You can break objects in the environment that give you coins, health, and ingredients. The same stuff can be found in chests. In each level, there's 3 stars you can collect. Some are hidden in cages, usually behind some puzzle or obstacle, and some can be found from killing enemies. After the first level, when you get back to the hub world, it's explained that Ian's mom can craft recipes with ingredients. Those recipes being new weapons and clothing. The clothing have their own perks, and the weapons add a bunch of variety to the game, allowing for unique playstyles. Plus, certain enemies are weak to certain weapons, and not to mention that the unique weapons are required to find a bunch of secrets. The celery weapon is the only one you can use freely. The rest have a refillable meter that empties the more you use it. Level 2 is also very short and more of the same. At the end you free Stevie, and in the hub world he's the microtransaction guy. You can buy ingredients from him and crystals. Crystals are the in-game currency that you mostly have to buy with real money. By the way, in a later update, Charlie becomes a shop that only sells items for crystals. There's also pop-ups that appear periodically throughout the game that try to get you to buy things as if $250,000 wasn't already overpriced. But you know, whatever, Defy, get that bag before you go bankrupt. So anyway, this game is repetitive as hell. The first 10 levels all just blend together for me. Even the 2 bosses feel the same. Yes, their attack patterns are different, but they're just 2 giant donuts, which feels lazy. Level 11 introduced the next theme, that being a spooky forest instead of a normal one. There's also a swamp theme, a crystal cave, and a donut cave. Also, I don't know when or why he got here, but by at least level 11, the neighbor, a reoccurring Smosh character, is in the hub world now. He runs the challenge mode that we'll probably never be able to see. The puzzles throughout this entire game seem to be nothing but stepping on buttons and just using your other weapons on their respective obstacles. Like, oh, a post? Let me hammer it. Oh, a rock? Let me shoot it. From what I saw, there's really not much evolution here. These feel like very watered down and extremely simple Zelda puzzles. I don't think I'd even consider many of them real puzzles. The combat seems to work fine for what it is, but the enemies don't vary a ton. From what I could see, all the enemies are donuts aside from this random food battle catalog in level 28. Unless you force yourself to use your other weapons in the game, the combat will get repetitive very quickly. But keep in mind, the game doesn't often urge you to use any other weapon in combat aside from your main celery sword. The only time it seems like you'd want to switch it up is for long range, so you kind of have to make yourself mix it up in combat. I guess the game says the enemies have their weaknesses, but for all the playthroughs I watched, they stayed to their very few weapons in combat during the entire game. There's really nothing specific to note for any of these levels. The last few of them seem to just focus on fighting more than anything else. They look like a grind to kill these giant donuts over and over. By the way, every single level is very short, ranging from 1 minute all the way to 6 minutes. Is this game bad? Yeah, it looks it. Could be worse, I suppose, but it just looks boring and repetitive. With the little bit of footage that's out there, I even found a few glitches. So one thing you might be wondering is what happened to Ian. Well, he appears after level 5, and at first he doesn't really add much to the plot. He's just hanging around with his donut hole buddy. In the hub world, he's in this abandoned house, but you don't figure out what the purpose of this house is until the very end. Ian and his donut hole buddy reappears at the end of level 10, and the donut hole buddy has grown a bit bigger. That's all the important context we get here. I'm sure there's more plot and more development throughout the game, however, I was unfortunately not able to find any information on it, so this is now the point where we have to skip to the final level of the game. The final level takes place under Ian's bedroom. Here we learn that Ian's pink donut hole is the final boss. In one of the videos I found, the person was able to literally just mash the screen until it died, so I am sure the boss was very well thought out. Once he dies, Ian says, "Years of human pastry gene splicing research ruined, and all because of you." He then eats the donut and becomes fat. You now have to fight Fat Ian, which seems to involve more screen mashing. Once defeated, Ian goes, "No!" and then he feels remorse. Anthony calls Ian a dickwad, makes a fat joke, and invites Ian back to Tickput where we get the final cutscene.
Come on, just 900 more pounds to go. Stop sweating.
Good job, boys. How about I make you something to eat?
Donuts? No donuts!
How thrilling. Ian then appears in the mysterious broken down house. He says, "Oh, the whole mutant donut invasion thing. Don't worry, I can make it up to you." And then he offers you new difficulties to play on. And that's the game. So as we saw, Ian is responsible for all of the events in the game. And since this video game is based on their series where they battle and constantly kill each other, I don't think I would want it any other way. One of their old school characters was named Boxman, whose life story is told through a series of music videos. And one of their Flash games is called Boxman's Escape. The game opens with a bad remix of the original Boxman song.
Boxman is at home watching TV. There's a knock on the door, who could that be?
The plot of the game is that cops are trying to capture Boxman to perform some tests on him. So Boxman activates a time bomb to blow up the place and tries to run away. But before he can run away, he needs to collect his mac and cheese. Thus, the game begins. The goal of the game is to collect all of the mac and cheese while avoiding the cops. All you do is move around using the arrow keys. This game isn't too hard, but sometimes it's hard to tell what you can and can't walk through. Not to mention, the enemies seem to spawn randomly and can spawn right on top of you. There's 4 levels in total, and when I beat it, the screen just went black. The next is called Smosh Fighters. It's literally a basic fighting game where you can play as Ian or Anthony, and whoever you don't pick is the one you fight. There's also a couple maps, but other than that, it's very basic. But lucky for us, both of these games are still available to play. Dude Perfect. They are a huge YouTube channel with almost 60 million subscribers. Most of their content revolves around making insane trick shots, but they have a surprising amount of unique content as well. They even had their own show on Nickelodeon. Their first 2 games are no longer available for download, but they were called Dude Perfect and Dude Perfect 2. Very little footage of the first game exists, but they seem to both play the same. The goal of these games are to land impressive trick shots, much like their own videos. Some of these levels seem to be straightforward, but others seem to be more of a puzzle. These games seem like fine, basic mobile games from what I can tell, albeit nothing special. At least the visuals in the second game are a great improvement from the first. I wish I could play them myself to give a better opinion, but unfortunately they're lost to time. But looking at the footage, I really don't think I'm missing out on much. And by the way, many of the games I'm covering today have been lost to time as well. And as I go on, I'll make sure to make it clear which games I have and haven't played. Anyway, to give us a good idea what kind of quality these 2 games were, we can take a look at their third game, which is still available for download, Endless Ducker. It's an endless runner game where you duck and jump, and that's it. The premise is based off how one of their members, Cody, is really tall and often ducks in real life. How thrilling. Anyway, this game could have been fine for what it is, but I experienced a lot of lag while playing it, which is super sad because I was playing it on the iPhone 13. I would honestly say that the lag renders this game unplayable since it's all about reaction time. So yeah, the lag here does not give me a good feeling towards their other 2 previous games. And it's very humorous watching Dude Perfect themselves react to the impossible situations the game throws at them.
Oh wow, what a...
Yeah. I told you! How are you supposed to get past that?
Fred is one of the OG channels of YouTube created by Lucas Cruikshank. I think I'm pronouncing that last name right. At one point, Fred was the most subscribed to YouTube channel of all time. At some point way after that, Lucas sold the channel to some company and completely different videos were uploaded, but those videos did not take off at all. And the YouTube channel has since been dormant for 7 years. However, Lucas is still active on another YouTube channel. The original Fred content was mostly all sketches about the life of a made-up character named Fred Figglehorn. There were recurring characters that were never shown on screen, not until the Nickelodeon movies at least. The 2 relevant characters to this game are Judy, who Fred has a crush on, and Kevin, who is Fred's bully. I played this game back in 2020 for a video, and Lucas himself even commented on the video, which is still mind-blowing to me. I also ranked every single Fred song. I'll link the video in the description if you want to watch it after. Anyway, the game's called Fred Figglehorn. It starts with a cutscene. Mostly... oh, is this... Is that Judy? It's Judy. What? Very abrupt ending, I know, but you just gotta love it. The entire gameplay is just running away from Kevin. That's it. Playing the game kind of hurts my eyes, and the obstacles come too quickly too early to make this worth playing. There's only one level, but there's two different themes. A winning run takes less than 2 minutes, and all that happens at the end is Fred gives Judy a flower. Maybe the game is archived somewhere. I didn't look into it too much, but the death of Flash killed this game as far as I can tell. The Annoying Orange is another old school YouTube channel, but this one is still very active and uploads across a few different channels. However, the views aren't what they used to be, and many of their channels are now dormant. Not to say the channels that still post don't get any views at all. They're doing fine for themselves. Anyway, their content is some of the most obnoxious stuff you can find on the website, if you couldn't tell by the name. All of the videos revolve around these fruit characters doing a wide variety of stuff. The channel's been around for so long and has so many videos, it's hard to generalize the wacky situations these fruit find themselves in. There was an official Annoying Orange app that was a hub for all Annoying Orange videos across all of their channels, very similar to the Smosh Hub I talked about in a different video. But this one takes it a step further and has a social media tab where you can see and interact with posts from Annoying Orange characters. You can also create your own posts and add your friends and talk to them. This app no longer exists, which I'm thankful for, as the social media part was really asking for trouble. It's also worth noting the existence of this interactive Annoying Orange book that requires an app called Zapper to get the full experience. Zapper isn't made by the creators of the Annoying Orange, and works for a bunch of different stuff, but I found this interesting enough to include it. Anyway, this kind of works like a virtual pop-up book. You can scan the book at certain spots and get exclusive content. There's even some interactive games as well, and this still works if you buy a copy of this 2014 book for yourself. Let's now dive into their 2 mobile games. I unfortunately played both of these games as they're still available for download. Let's start with Annoying Orange Carnage. Classic mode is just one of those toss the object into the goal games, like paper toss. In this case, you're throwing fruit into a blender. Meanwhile, the Annoying Orange and other characters make obnoxious dialogue.
Pepper, 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 pepper! Whoa! What's going on out here?
The goal is to get to as high of a level as possible before the time runs out, and each level gives you more blenders and more characters to throw. The balloon mode is essentially the same thing, but you now have to pop balloons that float by, and endless mode is just an endless version of classic. I don't even think I need to explain how annoying this game is in general, and no, it does not play well either. I really never got the hang of it, and oftentimes I couldn't throw the fruit consistently in any direction. If you've played this and disagree about the level of quality that this game is, I'm willing to accept the fact that I might be bad at Annoying Orange Carnage, but to me this game did not feel very polished at all and it was really inconsistent with the throws. Splatters Up is one of those games where you launch an object to see how far it can go. I believe they're commonly called distance games. The most popular one I can think of is Toss the Turtle, and this is a very bad version of that type of game.
Ready?
Here I come, right down the pipe.
Yeah, that's the game. There's power-ups you get over time, and you're supposed to go further and further with every throw. But this just feels so dull. And I used to be a big Trollface Launch fan, so I think I know what I'm talking about. Yes, I'm biased in the sense that I hate the Annoying Orange, but this is just the most generic, boring, and uninspired version of this type of game that I've played. If you want an example of a good game like this, then we can look at the Odd Ones Out Let's Bounce. The Odd Ones Out is an animation and storytime YouTuber with over 18 million subscribers. And this game already starts out on a good note, as this is not a YouTuber that I hate. It starts off with a quick cutscene where he expresses wanting to be a kid again, and then you start the game. The main gimmick here is that you're going through time so you can be a kid again, and I would say this is a solid distance game. It's no Trollface Launch, but that would be asking a lot. But if we're comparing this game to the Annoying Orange game, just look at them side by side, and tell me you can't tell which game is more exciting and charming. The gameplay heavily relies on a bouncing mechanic to keep the momentum going. I think it's a very fun mechanic. You can keep runs up for a while and save runs that seemed futile with great timing, which is very rewarding. I don't know the Odd Ones Out's videos too well, but there seems to be a lot of references to him, and it's all done in his art style, which I suppose you could say the same thing for the Annoying Orange game, but this one's actually fun. This one's called Skewers, and the best game I can compare it to is Snake. You go around piercing fruit and dropping them off in the blender. I'm pretty sure I missed this one because on a surface level, possible this game has nothing to do with the annoying orange. But what I found is there's an annoying orange mode you can turn on and off. And you know I leave that shit on. It doesn't do anything aside from change the power-ups into annoying orange characters. And every now and then they pop up.
Don't mind if I drop in, do ya?
I didn't even get a chance to try out any of these power-ups. And that's because the turning in the game sometimes feels so delayed, and overall the game just moves too slow for me to put up with. And yes, it's bad that you liked the annoying orange games. You should feel ashamed. The Game Grumps are a Let's Play channel with over 5 million subscribers, hosted by two guys named Daniel Avedon and Aaron Hansen. The channel's seen a few different hosts and common guests, but nowadays it's mostly just the two playing video games with the occasional guest. However, behind the scenes they seem to have a decently sized team, and have even branched out with other ventures like their touring company and game publishing and developing team. Their first game was Dream Daddy. Dream Daddy is a dad dating simulator where you play as a dad, and your goal is to meet and romance other hot dads. It's not a game I would ever play, but I just don't think I'm the target audience. I watched some Let's Plays online to get an idea of it, and it looks exactly like it sounds. The game was mostly positively received, but there was a bit of controversy with people saying it was directly pandering and taking advantage of the LGBTQ+ community. As someone who's not a member of the LGBTQ but just an ally, I don't feel like it's my place to comment here, and this also it just isn't a game that I'm ever gonna play. So if you're curious about the game, I recommend doing your own research and forming an opinion for yourself. Soviet Jump Game is not developed by Game Grumps, just published by them. I know at the start of the video I said I would not cover games published by YouTubers, just developed, but I wrote this before realizing they weren't the developers, so I'm letting this one slide. It's a 2D platformer battle royale that has a lot of Russian jokes. That sure didn't age well. It has a lot of power-ups and fun obstacles to traverse. I actually played it a bit right when it first came out, and I had a lot of fun with it. Unfortunately, I also played the game a week after its initial release, and I noticed a lot less people were already playing it. So maybe that was just my experience, but I don't think it was very popular for long at all. I played it again just now for the sake of this video, and I managed to get into the top 10 with only encountering one other player who quickly killed himself as soon as he saw me. Same thing happened with the only other player I encountered towards the end. So for that match, I was really questioning whether I was playing with real people or bots. However, my next match was really fun. Everything was just how I remembered it, and I even managed to get first place. Epic Mealtime used to be a massive channel on YouTube with over 7 million subscribers. It was created by Harley Morenstein. Their videos involved them making ridiculous and over-the-top meals. They had many inside jokes and recurring characters that helped keep their videos entertaining. Nowadays, uploads are infrequent, and their most recent videos are about the creator clash that Harley was a part of, who coincidentally kicked Aaron from Game Grumps' ass. The Epic Mealtime game, I believe, is just called Epic Mealtime, and unfortunately, no, it is no longer available to download. All you do is swipe meat and alcohol into Harley's mouth, and swipe away the vegetables. When you swipe a giant pig in his mouth, you have to tap to swallow it. You lose when you mess up 3 times in a row. There's cosmetics that offer power-ups, and challenges that I was never able to find footage of. And the music actually kinda slaps. So yeah, this just feels like another whatever game. Sunday is a massive YouTuber with over 21 million subscribers. He creates gaming content on a few different games, most notably Minecraft, Fortnite, and Among Us. He's one of those YouTubers who just kinda yells a lot. His words, not mine. Anyway, his game is called IdleTuber. It's an idle game where you grow your YouTube audience and get views. The game starts off with you just tapping the screen to record over and over, and that's how you get views and subscribers. Eventually you get more setups to record more, meaning more views and subscribers. You'll also quickly get an editor who introduces the idle side, because without them you'll have to do everything yourself. Kind of like real life, I guess. There's of course a lot of gimmicks to help you get more views, and plenty to level up, just like any idle game. And after every time you level up, you have to completely restart, but you get some new perks every time. I did play this a bit myself, and I know idle games are made to be played over a long period of time, so I didn't really allow myself enough time to get the full experience, but from what I can tell, it's a fine idle game, but not one I plan on continuing. So I know I need to address this, as many people are going to make the comparison. Is IdleTuber a tuber simulator ripoff? Yeah, kind of. I'm not saying YouTubers can't make idle games, but 2 idle games about being a YouTuber, that's kind of a weird coincidence. It feels like this game was made in hopes that people would confuse it with Tuber Simulator, and to be fair, this does feel like a great value version of Tuber Simulator. Yes, these games are very different in many ways, but this truly feels like the intent of the game, or at least to me. In Idle Simulator, the art and music is generic and uninspired, and honestly the entire game feels this way. There's also no voiceovers, and whenever you see this low quality star, you can also see a tiny line they forgot to erase in Photoshop, and none of these problems exist in Tuber Simulator. The art and music are incredibly well done, Felix himself voice acts, and the game gushes with charm and personality. And like I said, Idle Tuber doesn't. I'm sure there's references to Sunday's YouTube channel, which is cool if you're a fan, but as far as charm goes, that's it. Jax Films is another OG YouTuber who has made many different comedy series over the years. One of his most well-known and at this point's longest running series is called Yai, which stands for Yesterday I Asked You. In Yai, he asks his audience random questions and he reads the funniest answers out loud. Earlier this year, he made a video game based on this series called Be Funny Now. All you do in it is answer questions just like in the series. So I hate to say this because Jack is literally one of my favorite people on YouTube and a huge inspiration for me, but I am not a fan of this video game. And given the mixed reviews on Steam, people seem to agree with me. The game really does feel like a watered down version of Jackbox. The questions are okay, but public lobbies don't always lead to the funniest answers. And with only one game mode, it gets old very quickly. Not to mention I'm not a fan of the art style. I love Jack and this game really could have been so much more, but it doesn't feel like he put any of his personality into it, if that makes any sense. Like, Jack's a charismatic and funny guy. Imagine him doing literally any voiceovers for this game. It would automatically make it way more charming, but instead it feels kind of lifeless. I tried playing it again just now for the video, and it took over 7 minutes for me to load into a lobby, and once I did, I answered one question and then there was a glitch that skipped the results. So anyway, unfortunately I don't think many people are playing this game, and maybe I was even paired with bots in my match, who knows. It was more active when it was brand new, but to be fair, this game really is not that old. It's free to play on Steam and mobile devices with cross-platforming, so if you're bored, I feel like it is worth downloading at least once to play with your friends, but not much more than that. In 2020, he also released a board game based on the series as well. It acts very similar to the video game, but like I said earlier, I don't intend to cover any board games today, and that's mostly because I just haven't played any of them. However, from the videos I watched of Be Funny Now, and from the board game, I feel like this type of game just works better in a board game format, unless you have a bunch of different game modes, which Be Funny Now just doesn't. So there's a Gangnam Style game I want to talk about. Gangnam Style is a K-pop song by Psy. I know Psy's not a YouTuber, but his music video went insanely viral thanks to YouTube, and was even the most viewed video on the entire website for the longest time, so I figured it fits well in this video. There are some non-official Gangnam Style games out there that I found, but I believe the one I'm going to be showing off is the official one. It seems to be a short minigame collection that takes place in various locations from the music video. In the first minigame, you just go back and forth to avoid the chickens until you reach the top of the screen. In the second one, you throw the chickens at the elevator guy a certain amount of times. And the rest of the 5 levels that I could find were just different versions of those minigames. There are more levels, but I couldn't find any footage of them online, and the game is no longer available for download, so I can't play it myself. There's also an upgrade shop, but that's all I can find. Regardless, I think you get the idea. This game is not very elaborate or exciting. Pen Pineapple Apple Pen is a viral music video by Japanese performer Picotaro. Again, no, he's not a YouTuber, but this video is sitting at over 400 million views, so I figured I would talk about it, because if I don't talk about it today, when will I get the chance to? The game, appropriately named Pineapple Pen, is still available for download to this day. It starts off with an ad for a different mobile game before the menu even pops up, which is always a good sign and never a red flag. The game's very simple. All you do is tap the screen with careful timing to hit the fruit with your pen, and sometimes even combine the fruit together. The guy from the video chimes in often, and yes, it gets annoying fast.
Pineapple apple pen.
There's a couple different game modes that add a bit of variety, but in my opinion, this old gets very old very fast. I'm also not going to be talking about mods, fan games, voice acting, skins, board games, or anything of the like, with one exception. A couple people recommended to me that I go over annotation games. A great example of an annotation game is Markiplier in Space. Annotation games are choose your own adventures in the form of a video series on YouTube. The first video will set up a premise that leads to an ending with 2 potential directions the story could go. Your job is to pick the correct direction to continue the story, and that goes on and on until the series is over. This has been done by many different YouTubers in the past and has been around since the early days of YouTube. However, annotations used to look a lot different. Wheezy Waiter's annotation adventures always seem to go above and beyond, and in my opinion were the best, but I'm sure everyone has their favorites. Now time for some unfinished business. In my last video about YouTuber games, I teased Keemstar's video game, but I never talked about them in detail. So I'm gonna set things right and cover them right now. For those who don't know, Keemstar is a very controversial creator who mostly covers drama, but can also run fast as fuck, boy. Believe it or not, Keem actually had 3 different games. The first app he made in 2017 is a fidget spinner app where you just tap to spin the fidget spinner.
Keemstar's Fidget My Spinner? That's a pretty gay title.
You can upgrade it as you go and customize your fidget spinner and background. I don't think there's much else to it. It's also no longer available for download. I'll let Keemstar explain the next one.
The YouTube gods put a mobile app on your phone called the Adpocalypse. And once you start playing this game on your phone, you realize that the YouTube gods gave you the ability to take talents from smaller YouTubers and combine them. And when you combine them, you make bigger YouTubers, and then you can combine them and make bigger YouTubers, and all of a sudden, you got all the amazing talent and skills out of all of YouTube, and your YouTube views start going through the roof, and you start making millions of dollars! You unlock over 37 of the greatest YouTubers of all time, taking their abilities, taking their talents, and taking their YouTube ad money. And when you get to the end, you have officially survived the Adpocalypse!
So as he said, it's of course based off the Adpocalypse that happened on YouTube between 2016 and 2017. The Adpocalypse was essentially a point in time in YouTube's history where advertisers were boycotting YouTube due to its, at the time, edgy nature. So of course, as a result, many YouTubers were not getting paid well. Anyway, not much of this footage exists nowadays. But funnily enough, in one of the few videos that do exist of the game, the person playing it comments how this game ironically has a ton of ads and microtransactions. And all that does happen in the game is you combine YouTubers together to create bigger YouTubers. This game does feature many creators, which is cool I guess, but the game itself doesn't look very exciting. Unfortunately, I'll never know how it ends because I cannot play it myself, for it is no longer available to download. There's also a video game that Key made about Area 51 that I forgot to mention in this video. So yes, that's right, he has 4 different games, and if there's a 5th one out there that I didn't find, then I apologize. This game is based off the meme from 2019 where everyone was saying they would Naruto run into Area 51. It's still available on Steam for $15, but for now I'll just be watching Mudahar's video on it. There's really not much to say on this game. It seems like it's definitely hard to figure out what to even do in this game. I mean, it gives you 0 direction. I believe all you do is rescue these aliens by bringing them to a certain spot. The guards don't seem to react to you half the time. You can also see how visually bad this game looks. There's no animations for some pretty simple actions. Keem has since said there was updates to the game, but I don't imagine it's been redeemed much at all.
Oh my god, that must have been the worst game that I've played in my life.
In my original recording where I talk about Keem's next game, I think I accidentally mispronounced the game. Or maybe it was Keem that mispronounced it.
For about a year in the background, we've been working on this other game, No Macer.
He calls it No Macer, even though it's definitely No Mancer.
No Macer.
Anyway, researching this game was kind of confusing since some people talked about a cancelled PS4 game called No Mageddon saying it was Keemstar's game, but it wasn't. It was a completely different game that people confused with No Mancer. Even then, No Mancer doesn't feature Keem's name anywhere, and it's not very popular with only 13 Steam reviews. However, I was able to confirm that this game is definitely made by Keem, and surprisingly this game is still available to buy and sells for $11 on Steam. This game is up to 4 players and hey Keem, you wanna collab? It's probably the only way I'll play this game. It's a twin stick shooter where you fight with your gnomes. You can kind of think of this game as a more combat focused and boring version of Pikmin. Even YouTube thinks the 2 games are similar. There's a bunch of different classes you can play as. There's a storyline, but it doesn't look like there's anything special to it. I believe the main goal of every mission, or at least every mission I skipped through, is all about collecting rune stones. To be completely honest, this game doesn't look as bad as I would have imagined. However, I genuinely don't think it's worth the price. And if you were wondering what's up with the gnomes, well, I suppose that Keemstar embraced the fact... I mean the meme that he looks like a gnome. Anyway, that's it for the surprisingly long history of Keemstar developing games. Anyway... Going back to Markiplier, Lixian has made many famous Markiplier animated videos, has edited for Mark for years, and has a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers. On top of that, he's also a game developer. The first game he made was in 2018 and it was called Shield Blast. It's a Space Invader / bullet hell type of game. I am not sure how to properly describe it, but I'm sure you get the idea. The name of the game refers to an attack where you blast a bunch of enemies. The premise of the game is that Earth is running low on resources and your mission is to deliver more resources. In the same year, he participated in a game jam where he made a game called Mind Ripple, which is described as an experimental psychedelic platformer. 1 year later, he participated in a new game jam and he made a platformer called Do It For Me, which was made in under 24 hours. In 2019, he then made a horror game for Mark's birthday called Damien. Earlier this year, he also made Ricochet Gun. It's a game where you have to carefully plan your shots or else your bullets will ricochet and potentially kill you. The final game he made is called Late Night Mop, which is a horror cleaning simulator. I believe all of these games are still available to be played on his itch.io page. Yo Mama is a YouTube channel based around Yo Mama jokes, and the guy sounds like Joe Swanson.
Yo Mama's so fat, she thought Squid Game was a sushi eating competition.
I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not, but that's what it is. I guess he's also some kind of VTuber sometimes, but other than that, there's not much else to the channel. They made a game called Yo Mama Arcade. There is so little information of this game out there, but I believed it released sometime in 2018, but it's already off of the App Store. The app seems to be a collection of minigames revolving around these lovely mamas. The minigames are tea dunking, eating contest, and yeah, that's it. The one video I found only shows off those 2 games, which leads me to believe those are the only 2 in existence. But there is a section for Yo Mama jokes, so this app must have been pretty good. CinemaScare is a classic YouTuber who is often credited as the first person to make and popularize game reviews on YouTube. He's most popular for his Angry Video Game Nerd series, but he's also ventured out with many different types of content like a podcast, a movie, and even his own band. Not to mention he's also released 2 different video games. They are the Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures 1 and 2, the first being released in 2013 and the second in 2016. They're both 8-bit action-adventure platform games, along with many AVGN references and even cameos from other YouTubers such as Gerard the Completionist, Andre the Black Nerd, and Egoraptor to name a few. In 2020, they revamped all of the games and released them together on PC and all modern consoles, with an actual physical release on the Nintendo Switch and PS4. It actually looks like a really solid platformer. Oren Z's side is a 6 million plus gaming YouTuber. She also uploads a bit of variety, but still it's mostly gaming. My favorite videos I watched from her are the videos where she plays really bad mobile games that I have roasted in the past, but she pretends like they're the best games ever. Anyway, her game is a Candy Crush type beat. It's still available to play, but honestly from the trailer, I think I'm all set. I'm not saying the game is bad or anything, all I'm saying is I think I already understand what this game's about. Dennis is a Roblox YouTuber with almost 10 million subscribers. I guess he also has some connection or inside joke with cats. His brand seems to revolve around this cat named Sir Meows-a-Lot. I don't know, I didn't look into it too hard, but either way his game is called Cats and Cosplay. It came out in 2018 and is a tower defense game where you fend off seemingly random enemies with cats. I haven't played it, but it is still available for download. From what I've seen, the game looks alright. There's a decent variety of characters to play and a bunch of upgrades. However, nothing really stood out to me. Tomska is a British YouTuber whose bread and butter is comedy sketches. He's probably most known for creating Asdif Movie and his work on Ed's World. He made a game called Cat Attack.
I'm a Lego Movie. Cat Attack is kind of a side-scrolling tower defense shooty game, but basically it's just a game about shooting cats from outer space, because that is the full extent of my writing capabilities.
Damn it, Brain, these films suck. How do you expect me to write a good script with this trash?
How about Space Cats?
Space Cats? That's brilliant.
Okay, so he did a bad job at explaining the game, but basically it's a beat 'em up game against cats. Huh. 2 cat games in a row. He says he either got the idea from a 2011 video he made called Holy Shit Cats,
They must have found a way through the AstroCat space hole.
That makes perfect sense.
or he got the idea from a 2009 Ed's World video he wrote called Movie Makers. In that video, Tom's character is trying to think of a movie idea, but all of his ideas involve space cats in some way, so they end up filming a movie about space cats. This man's mind is truly something to behold. Anyway, for the game, he got professional voice actors, Mr. Weeble animated the cutscenes, and there were cameos from other YouTubers like PewDiePie, Gavin Free, Markiplier, and more. The game got delayed for a few months, but it finally released in late 2014 for Apple and Android. It looks like it might have been decent, but unfortunately it's no longer available for download. Anyway, there's also an as-if movie board game called Muffin Time, but I'm not here to talk about board games. Got it? Dan is Not on Fire and Amazing Phil are two British YouTubers. Huh. Two British YouTubers in a row. They're both known for being sexy Tumblr men, or at least that's how I found out about them in like 2012. They've both been on the platform for the longest time and have made a variety of different videos. And as a side note, this video made by Dan is incredible. If you're thinking about making YouTube your job, please watch this video. Anyway, the two made an app called the 7-Second Challenge. It's a party game where you have to perform a random task within 7 seconds. They came up with the idea from a video Phil made with another YouTuber, Kick the PJ. In the video, the two do the same exact thing that you do in the app, which is a random task within 7 seconds. The game may have been alright, but it's no longer available for download.
Okay, Dan, make up a rap about space. I did this on the radio. Okay, space, it's the best. If you earn out in just a vest, you die.
Swanky Box is a YouTuber who analyzes games in a very unique way. I don't know quite else how to describe his channel. In 2020, he released a game called Zardy's Maze. It's a challenging horror game where you wander a corn maze with the goal of cutting down plants. You do all this while avoiding the creepy pumpkin witch dude named Zardy. I do think with this game, the tension is definitely there. Because you just turn a corner and it's a fucking gamble if you are going to be stalked or not. I mean, for what it is, it's fine. It's hard to impress me with horror games in general, so I give it a passing grade. You can play it for free on Steam, and Zardy's Maze 2 is still in development. iDubbbz is a YouTuber who has made a wide variety of content over the years. You may recognize him from his Content Cop series, or maybe even a viral meme.
I'm gay. I have crippling depression.
More recently, he created the Creator Clash where regular YouTubers boxed one another. One thing not everyone knows about him is that his early content was of him playing video games, and he was really into game development. However, all of his gaming videos have since been deleted. Fun fact, at times he also used to be a beta tester. His video game is called Think or Swim and was made in a 24-hour game jam. The website it was hosted on has since been deleted, but thanks to the Wayback Machine, we can still access it. This game has two different sides to it. For each level, you can pick whether you want to think or swim. Whenever you choose swim, you have to mash the arrow keys to reach the boat before the sharks get you. Think will give you a trivia question, but the answers are always the ones with a 69 in them. After only 3 levels, you get this lovely trophy, and that's it. Weeble Stuff is a YouTube channel responsible for a bunch of popular old school viral videos. I'm sure you've seen at least one of these. In 2011, they made a game called Russian Dancing Man game, appropriately named after their 2010 music video, Russian Dancing Man. It's a runner game that's filled to the brim with Weeble Stuff references, and very catchy music. All you have to do is tap on the appropriate buttons when a certain obstacle appears. I believe the game had 10 levels and some kind of storyline. From what is available, it seems like the story is all about Russians wanting to dance. The game looks good for what it is, but to be fair, I do have a soft spot for this channel. And unfortunately, this game has been lost to time. Brental Floss is a YouTuber who mainly makes videos centered around video game music. His most popular series is one where he adds lyrics to video game music that doesn't already have lyrics. His game is called Use Your Words, which came out in 2017. It's a self-described Jackbox party game. There's a few different game modes, but the premise of the game is that you have to fill in a prompt of a specific scenario with whatever you want, and the goal of the game is to make everybody else laugh. You can still play it today, and there's also a second game in development. The Kickstarter actually just finished up. Here's a bunch of games made by YouTubers that you guys recommended I check out, but didn't. I still plan to make a couple more videos on these YouTuber games, but there's just so many out there I don't plan on covering every single one of them. I didn't leave these ones out specifically for any specific reason. Honestly, they were just left out at random. When I got to the point in the script writing process where I felt satisfied with the length of it, I obviously stopped writing, and these were just the unlucky ones. This game started development with PewDiePie's now defunct network Revel Mode. Luckily, he was still able to continue work on the game after Revel Mode fell apart. However, PewDiePie was just the producer and had some creative influence. This game was made with the help of Armin I'm not gonna try to pronounce that name. He's also one of the creators of Goat Simulator and the co-founder of Double Moose, which was the development team behind Ass. So what is the game like, you ask? Well, it's a physics-based Happy Wheels. It's Happy Wheels with a chicken. Okay, so that's a very mean way to describe it, but I think you guys understand the core of the game now. Felix even mentions that it's inspired by Happy Wheels along with Trials. I will say Ass definitely has its own identity, feel, and mechanics. This game easily stands out on its own. There's an adventure mode filled with pre-made levels that you can beat in around 5 hours or so. It's a good time that can also give you the occasional challenge. It's nothing crazy, there are a few glitches and I didn't love every single level, but for how short it was, I didn't find myself complaining too much. But the main draw of the game are the fan-made levels. I'm not really into level editing games myself, but as far as I can tell, this is well made and has a fair amount of customizable options, which makes it a shame that the community servers have since been shut down. Looking at the most popular reviews, it seems like this game never left PewDiePie's fanbase. Everyone's just dropping PewDiePie references and not even talking about the game. Most of these people don't even have many hours into the game itself. So what went wrong? I've never played Trials myself, but comparing it to Happy Wheels, it's certainly different enough for people to enjoy. I just think this genre of game wasn't popular on YouTube in 2017. In fact, I think YouTube was absolutely oversaturated with Happy Wheels. By 2014, I'm sure every creator and viewer was completely burnt out of it. I know I was. So for a YouTuber specifically to market this game probably didn't make the most amount of sense. And personally, I didn't see marketing for it anywhere else. Not saying it wasn't there, but I just didn't see it. Even if this game is better than Happy Wheels on a technical level, to many audiences, this game probably feels too similar. And at this point, since the game doesn't even have PewDiePie's name slapped onto it, I think most people forgot of its existence. I've been consistently asking people for recommendations of games made by YouTubers for people to play, and I don't think anybody recommended me this game, I just remembered it existed. I could dive into this game a little more, but as a game that PewDiePie only just produced, and is not even in, it hardly feels like this is his game. And at this point I feel like I got all my points across, so I would rather spend my time focusing on the video game that got banned, Poopty.
Behold! For too long you have been farting in the darkness. Now, you are entering a new era where you shall craft thy own poop.
So from that trailer, you may be able to guess why it got banned, but here's the full story. This game was revealed in early 2018 and finally released in late 2019. Bulbware was the team behind the game, and keep in mind the team behind this game was only 3 people plus PewDiePie. It was released on Android but not Apple. Apple's official statement on the game was, Poopty has crude imagery and sound effects which may disgust users. So they're not wrong. This is a game themed around poop, and has endless amounts of potty humor, but to that I have a couple things to say. This is all clearly very cartoony. While the themes are gross, no one's actually going to be that disgusted by it. This is one of those games that when you first hear about it, you're like, this is weird and gross, why would I ever play it? But after only an hour of gameplay, you're immediately desensitized to it, and that's because it's just not that bad. Also, The Binding of Isaac is on iOS. You know, the game where you play as a naked 5-year-old who sets out to kill his mother and Satan, and oh yeah, there are loads of poop in the game, but that's not even the grossest part of Isaac. There's many gross features to it. So whatever, Apple clearly has some double standards going on, but eventually they came around and allowed it in their app store. It's even now on the Nintendo Switch eShop, though it's just a port. I ended up playing the previously banned iOS version, so my review will only be of that version specifically. This game is a dungeon crawler where you play as Poopty, aka PewDiePie. The intro of the game, which is voiced by Felix, explains that the little worm, Poopty, Poopty, could not stop farting so people made fun of him, which upset him. But then suddenly the mighty duck came in to give Poopty inspiration, and explained how the evil Samron is casting dark spells from his butt throne. Samron is the main antagonist of the game. After that, the game starts and you awaken a pool of Poopty's tears. You then collect the poop scroll that makes it so Poopty can summon poops to do his bidding. You summon these poops by gathering resources and then literally pooping them out. Can somebody make a poop counter to count how many times I've said poop? Poopty himself can't do much. The poops break obstacles and attack for him, similar to Pikmin. Later on in the game, Poopty can use scrolls to heal them, power them up, freeze and attack enemies. But at the start, he's just the one who poops them out and picks up the resources. The poops of course gradually take damage, and once they die, you'll have to replace them. Quickly in the game, you'll enter Poop Town, which is the main hub. Here is where you'll upgrade everything, but you can do most things in the menu from any place anyway, so this hub isn't as important as you may think. Also, Felix's wife Marcia is in the town as this worm. Jacksepticeye is in this game as a statue called Jacksepticbutt. Jorgen 1 and 2 are also statues, which are pretty cool. The first main mission of the game is saving Felix's dog, Edgar. Once you do, he sits in the hub and gives you some coins for certain resources. Those are the only obvious PewDiePie or Jacksepticeye references I could find in this game. But fun fact, there's also a Binding of Isaac reference in there. So anyway, I think this game is kind of bad. First of all, I'm very confused on the pacing of this game. There's so many obstacles in your way that you'll often just be sitting there watching your poops break them. Like there's not much else to do while waiting. Meanwhile, the combat requires a lot of attention, and enemies or even environmental hazards can attack at a moment's notice. So it's hard to multitask while playing this game, but it oftentimes is too slow paced to be fully immersed. Most quests in this game are some kind of fetch quest. You often talk to somebody, retrieve an item, and that's the quest. There's also a lot of back and forth and a lot of backtracking. Not to mention you have to grind carrots pretty regularly to keep producing more poops. Meanwhile, Poopty walks so freaking slow. I know there's upgrades for him to walk faster, but I'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, he's slow and the poops are even slower. The environment doesn't help this either, with constant bodies of water that slow you down, and certain paths that require you to just sit there and wait for your poops to break your way forward. So basically, the movement on its own is very slow and boring, and the game feels like it goes out of its way to make it even worse. Meanwhile, the lore is mostly poop related or full of literal potty humor, so there's really not much to look forward to there. The dialogue and the missions can be funny on occasion, but honestly, none of it's too elaborate at all, and the charm of the game wore off very quickly for me. The highlights of the game are the combat. Most of the time. Okay, so the combat itself is very straightforward. You tap enemies and your poops attack. You also have the scrolls to use however you want. I enjoy it for the most part, and oftentimes it works well, but honestly the bosses are not fun at all to me. They're all so chaotic. It's hard to ever produce more poops and they die so quickly. It feels like a constant cycle of just attempting to do quite literally anything, but I was able to find a way to cheese the bosses. I'm not sure if this is an intended feature or a bug, but this is what I did. Early on in the game, I paid to have no ads show up, so whenever a situation in game appeared where I would typically watch an ad, I would just skip it. For example, when you die, you can watch an ad to spin the wheel for a second chance, but for some reason I was able to do that endlessly, so I never really got to game over, and when I ran out of poops and resources to make more poops, I was able to get just enough carrots to make one more poop. I'm not sure how much of this is how the game is designed or if this is just a bug. But anyway, after dying a lot to one boss, I ran out of poops and resources, so I had to fight the boss with just one poop, which was way easier. I ended up finding myself dying much less often this way, and I was able to keep the one poop alive for almost the entire fight. It was so difficult to keep multiple poops alive while making more, so I felt like this was just the best strategy, which wasn't a fun one. After I beat the first chapter, I started to watch some reviews on the game to see what other people thought, and to see if I was doing things right. Overall, I heard a variety of opinions, so as far as I can tell, the reception to this game was mixed. But one thing that almost everybody said was that making sure you have enough resources to keep up with your poops was very difficult early game, but apparently everyone was able to manage it by the end of the chapter. And hearing that makes me question if we're even playing the same game. Can somebody tell me if I've been spending my coins wrong and just have underpowered poops or something, because no matter what happens, I constantly run out of poops. It was then I realized, oh, I'm not backtracking and grinding, silly me. So I did that a lot, which obviously wasn't very fun. I got a decent stockpile of resources, but even then I kept running out of poops. So again, to these reviewers, are we playing the same game? What did you do differently? Am I doing something wrong? Am I just bad at the game? Are you spending real money to get in-game coins and gems? Because if so, that would explain a lot. Felix says this game was made in a way where you don't need to spend money to have a good time and beat the game. And while that's technically true, you are at a huge disadvantage if you don't spend any money. You are going to have to grind and backtrack pretty regularly to keep up. And if you don't do that, while upgrading, you're going to have to choose between making the movement speed bearable, the combat bearable, or if you want to get a bunch of poops without grinding. Not to mention, this game makes you spend a lot of coins on getting these green gems, yet they are required to upgrade almost everything. I know I've complained a lot, but don't get me wrong, this game can be fun on occasion. Not every quest or area suffers from these problems. There's some nice and small combat focused levels that I enjoyed, plus there's plenty of secrets to explore which surprised me in a good way. I really wanted to beat this game for the video, but I couldn't. I beat chapter 1 in 4 hours and had a pretty poor view of the game. It didn't help me that the game crashed 4 or 5 different times throughout my gameplay, which basically means this game crashes 1 time for every hour. Not to mention periodically I would get this broken pop-up for me to buy something, but I wasn't actually able to purchase anything if I wanted to. This pop-up would simply softlock me, and this definitely happens more than once per hour. Anyway, after chapter 1, I realized there was only 3 chapters in total, so I tried to stick it out, but I only made it another hour and a half in. The mission that broke me was the mission where you have to retrieve the missing axe head. It requires you travel a large area pressing buttons that opens a random path in the area. So in other words, I was very slowly traveling up and down, left and right while fighting annoying enemies. It took a long time, I kept getting confused on where I was going, and like I mentioned earlier, the movement in this game is painfully slow. So needless to say, I stopped playing the game during that level. Overall, there were some fun moments in the game, and if I found myself ever trapped with just my phone for entertainment, then yeah, I'd probably play this for a bit and have a decent time for a bit, but I can't imagine myself playing this in any other context. But I won't leave you hanging. I'll show off the ending to the game, or I'll show you off the ending to chapter 2, because I don't think chapter 3 has even been released yet, and I don't think there's even any information if chapter 3 is coming anytime soon. So anyway, as it stands, I was not very far off from beating the game. So for context, the goal of the game is to collect 3 keys so you can open the tower so you can fight the main bad guy, Samron. You collect the first key at the end of chapter 1, and the second key at the end of chapter 2 after you defeat Cyclops. Here's the last cutscene currently in the game.
Suddenly, Cyclops started crying. Sorry I tried to hit you. When I'm sad, I start hurting others for whatever excuse. You see, I once was a father to a wonderful child. His name was Sam. He was a really gifted baby, and used his magic for good. But 92 years ago, a thief came in the night and kidnapped my son. The abductor used Sam's powers to craft an evil spell. Everyone forgot how to poop, and the ground slowly filled with hate. However, he left something behind. Please take this key, punish the thief, and dry a blind Cyclops' tears. Poopty took the gift and journeyed to Wizard's Tower. But when the key turned in the lock, a southern wind brought an ominous howl. Death is upon us, Poop Duck whispered.
There's also 2 game modes to play. They're basically just unique side quests, they're really more of the same. I have now reviewed every single game made by PewDiePie, so let's make a quick tier list. I'm excluding Ass from this list because it hardly feels like a PewDiePie game. Number 1 is Tuber Simulator, number 2 is Legend of the Brofist, number 3 is Poopty, and number 4 is PewDiePie's Pixeling. There's this Vlad and Nikki mobile game, but be honest with me, do you even care? Have you ever even heard of these kids until right now? Do you even care about this hub/mobile game app of theirs. The one that has a coloring book that excludes the color black for some reason. Do you even care that I have a bright green truck on my hands because of this? Great, now my boy Josh even thinks it's ugly. Do you even care about this mini game where Vlad says, Nick, we need more candies? And then Nick says, way too many candies. Like, which is it? Do we not have enough or do we need more candy? Also, that's the incorrect spelling of 2. And do you even care that the mini game is just tapping this pumpkin until eyeballs come out? And do you even care that 90% of the content on this app is locked behind a $30 a year paywall called a Fun Pass? Or how about the fact that this game immediately prompts you to buy it after opening the app for the first time? They're taking advantage of the kids and their need for fun. Don't even get me started on the Grumpy Cat game. It's amazing. Next time you're at work from 9 to 5 wishing you were home doing literally anything else, I want you to remember that there is an 11-year-old out there whose net worth is roughly $100 million, and they earned that by doing nothing but playing with and opening toys on YouTube. Now get back to work. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the YouTube channel Ryan's World, previously known as Ryan's Toy Review. This channel was created by Ryan's parents when Ryan was only 3.5 years old. It featured Ryan, reviewing toys. Since then, it has exploded in popularity with kids with over 30 million subscribers and 53 billion video views. And don't even get me started on Ryan's World as Spaniel. Their content has evolved a bit past just playing with toys, but not by much. Also, did you know that Ryan has 2 younger twin sisters that also appear in videos? Because this was news to me while writing the script. They've made 5 video games, and I played them all. This mad lad, entrepreneur, business tycoon, independent, hardworking, blue-collared, yellow-collared 11-year-old has 5 different video games to his name, along with a bunch of other merchandise, but that's for another video. His first game is Tag with Ryan, second is Race with Ryan, third is Super Spy Ryan, fourth is Ryan's Dirt Tag, the last and most likely least is Ryan's Rescue Squad. We're going down this rabbit hole in order, starting with Tag with Ryan. This is a mobile running game where Ryan runs from Combo the panda so he does not get tagged. Combo, of course, is a reoccurring panda character in Ryan's videos, but I'm guessing that you already knew that. So this game looks and controls fine. There's also power-ups and costumes, of course. However, the voice lines do get annoying quickly, and I don't think Ryan knows how tag works. So he's playing tag with Combo, and that's why Ryan is running away, so Combo is it, right? Combo is the tagger, and if you mess up, Combo will tag you. Well, if you run long enough, you'll be able to tag this crocodile character named Gus, despite Ryan not being the one who's it. This isn't how tag works, which really bothers me for some reason, and I do admit this is dumb. Tagging Gus is just how you unlock more cosmetics, and I really should not be mad at a game called Tag with Ryan, but I am. Another critique I have is that the game is way too easy. I know what audience this game is meant for, don't remind me. But honestly, this game has no end goal and is endless. So this feels more like an endurance game than anything else. Like, how long am I willing to play this mindless game for? It's actually kind of torture at a certain point. And guess what? Every single time you die, you have the option to watch an ad to continue running. So as far as I can tell, you can actually play this game endlessly, making it a real endurance test. Hey, Mr. Beast, I got a new video idea for you. Last person to quit Tag with Ryan wins $1 million. Feel free to use it, but I better be competing in that one. Also, probably about 75% of the time, the ads are for more Ryan's World's products. Yeah, they're literally plugging their own merch into the game, which is probably why they let you continuously watch these ads. By the way, if you ever see any egg in any of these games, which you will, well, that's because Ryan sells a bunch of toys inside these eggs. So it's basically a product placement every time you see one in one of these games. By the way, Race with Ryan is freaking awful. By the way, I want to say thank you to Game Pass for just having this game so I didn't have to spend $30 on the game and its 3 DLCs. So yeah, it's a racing game. You can either pick your track to race on or do career mode to earn trophies and unlock stuff. So that's what I did, and I played on hard mode because I thought, how hard can this be? If only I knew. So I didn't regret that choice because I had a hard time keeping up with the competitors. I regretted it because the camera is so goddamn close to your characters. It is so difficult to figure out where you're going at max speed if you don't have the maps memorized. And guess what? I don't have the maps memorized. Like, look at the camera comparison with Mario Kart. This is just too much. Not to mention a cardboard cutout of Ryan will constantly pop up on the screen to say something annoying and to block more of the race. Also, look how big this font is. It's even harder to see when you use or have an item. Push the camera out for God's sake. Anyway, once I got used to the cameras, I was able to steamroll the competition. I remained in first place almost the entire time for every race I played. I found drifting to be difficult for some reason, so I didn't even try to drift most of the time, which resulted in me continuously bumping into walls and tight corners, but this did not seem to ruin my chances at staying in first place at almost any point. I will say the maps themselves are not bad at all, with a bunch of branching paths. However, they do start to blend together and feel samey to me. If you showed me a random track, I don't know if I could confidently tell you whether or not I actually played on it. And I played this game yesterday. Oh, Hank, did you want to say something?
Keelvin, você precisa achar o Ryan World. Ele abriu a câmara de segredos.
Yeah, you've always been a pretty wise chimp. The next two games are complete ass and almost not worth talking about, but I'm gonna do it anyway. We're gonna start with Super Spy Ryan. It opens with this fully animated cutscene, which is kind of cool, but we'll never see this again in a Ryan game. So anyway, blah blah blah, plot plot plot, I didn't pay attention. This game's concept is alright. Your goal is to have the most toys on you by the end of the match, and you get toys by finding them around the arena and searching in chests. But be careful, as you have to hide from and or attack the NPCs and other players if they get too close to you, or else you will lose all of your toys. It is very punishing. By the way, this game is actually online. I originally didn't believe that fact, since I've seen other mobile games try to trick you into thinking it's online when it's really not. But at one point, a match of mine ended early, and my only guess for why that is someone had connection issues. There's two modes you can play in the game: team and free-for-all. In my team matches, I was consistently carrying the team. When I lost all of my toys, my team's meter went down to almost 0. And the first time I played free-for-all, I got 48 toys and second place had 12. Moving on. Dirt Tag with Ryan is the most forgettable game. It's this endless rail shooter that's ungodly easy. There's not much else to talk about. It's hard to tell by looking, but not all of the Nerf bullets the enemies shoot at you are actually harmful. Only some are. The game does make it clear on which are harmful and which are not harmful, but so much of what is going on is just irrelevant. So while playing this game, I would just forget that I even needed to dodge sometimes. And those were the only times I ever got hit. This is, again, an endurance game because it is just that easy. Easy like your mom. Remember when I was revealing the games to you in this video and then I said, the last and most likely least is Ryan's Rescue Squad? Well, that's what I like to call foreshadowing. Yeah, Ryan's Rescue Squad is the worst out of all of his games, which is sad considering we have seen some trash today. This game starts with Ryan and his friends getting isekai'd into this new world. In this world, evil Ryan and his two minions want to take over the Ryan World's YouTube channel and teach their evil ways to thousands of people. Evil Ryan is probably also an Andrew Tate stan. Most cutscenes in this game are just in this comic book style, which makes me ask, what happened to the animation? They only made animated cutscenes for one game and one game only, which is weird because that game is free and I paid $40 for this one. Also, during these cutscenes, they show this button you can press to skip these cutscenes, but it doesn't actually work and there is no way to skip these cutscenes. So there's 4 worlds in this game with at least 5 levels in each world with a bonus level. You start off in this green hill zone, I don't know what else to call it. You can run, double jump, kick through obstacles, and ground pound. There's also these little circular things you can collect and throw at people. In other words, this is a Yoshi game, but worse. They didn't even give Ryan an animation to throw the ball, but he's clearly drawn to be throwing it in the tutorial. Like, how lazy is that? In the next world, they introduce barrels, so this game becomes a Donkey Kong and Yoshi ripoff. That world's theme is even pirates, for crying out loud. Like, at least try to hide your intentions. I'm not saying this game can include things that are also in a Mario game. At this point, I think that would would be impossible for a platformer to do. However, this game just never expands upon anything or does anything original. This is the perfect example of a lazy and bare bones platformer. Like, there's gimmicks in this game just to have gimmicks. Like, there's this dinosaur that you have to play as in some levels, and that dinosaur is so slow, boring, and adds no unique gameplay whatsoever. So why is it here? Is it just to make the kids go, dinosaur, dinosaur? That was so goddamn cringy. I'm sorry. Yes, there are secrets in this game, but they're never challenging to find. These secrets do unlock bonus levels and cosmetics, but I'm sorry, I really enjoy playing as Ryan with jaundice, so I didn't care to collect them. I know some of you are saying, this is just a kid's game. Well, shut the fuck up before I make you. I love Nintendo, and do not think of them as a developer who exclusively makes games for kids. Like, give any kid a Donkey Kong Country game, they are going to suffer. Those games are brutal, but I do consider most of Yoshi's games for kids since they're so goddamn easy. However, those games are still fun. They will introduce new mechanics and expand upon them in creative ways. Secrets are able to be well hidden and actually require some thought to find. Not to mention, they're all charming as fuck, and I really want that giant yarn Yoshi amiibo. Why don't I have that already? Ryan's Rescue Squad is simply generic in every aspect and requires no skill to play. Like, there's probably about 4 different enemies in the game, and they just reskin them for different worlds. And some mechanics that could have been interesting are just barely even used. For example, there is almost no point where it's necessary to throw the ball, aside from the bosses. But speaking of the bosses, they're the worst part of the game. The 3 bosses are essentially the same exact goddamn boss fight, and the 4th boss is just an easy boss rush of all 3 of the previous bosses. And did I mention you can essentially go AFK for most of these boss fights? The way you hurt these bosses is by jumping on their head when they come down, but if you jump on the sides of the ship and not directly in the middle, you will hurt the boss and yourself. My first time fighting any of these bosses, I did that for all 3 of my hits and had no idea what I was doing wrong. On my 3rd hit, I killed the boss but died at the exact same time. But the game instantly went into this loading screen and then showed the boss's opening cutscene. At first I thought I beat him and I was reading the cutscene very confused, like, didn't this already happen? And then the fight starts again and I realize, oh, but how do I kill him? And it just took me so long to realize my problem. This game gives no feedback whatsoever. It was a nightmare. However, there was one thing keeping me going. You see, I bought this game on Steam, and if you buy a game on Steam but return it before you've played 2 hours of the game, you're able to get a full refund, getting all of your money back. So, I made that my goal. I speedran this entire game and beat it in 1 hour and 46 minutes. However, in the middle of my game, I closed it. I hit quit to go eat dinner and hang out with my roommates. However, instead of actually closing the application, the game just minimized itself and proceeded to stay open for another 2 hours, meaning I can no longer get a refund for this game. If you think I'm lying, the recording is right here. I have the proof. You know what? Forget Ryan versus Keelvin's world. How about hashtag give Keelvin back his 40 bucks, Ryan? I better see that trending on Twitter and in the comments of this video.
I just realized it's my fault because I hit Alt-Tab to stop OBS's recording. I still want my money back, Ryan.
I really didn't want to make a long form video about Skibidi Toilet, but here we are. Skibidi Toilet is very stupid, but it's a series made for kids, so I'm not really here to bash on it. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like this very bad Potter Puppet Pals parody wasn't the first video I watched on YouTube. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like that was not the perfect video to get me hooked on the website. Plus, I've literally never bashed on a kid's property before, so why would I start now? Anyway, my take on Skibidi Toilet is I don't really care, but I also fucking hate it. So I was reading comments on a video of mine where I talked about video games made by YouTubers, and 2 people commented about the Skibidi Toilet game. And immediately, my stomach dropped. I feared that there were 2 people out there that thought Skibidi Toilet inspired Gmod or Half-Life, and I just was not ready to deal with that. That's just a bad timeline. It's just bad. But credit to these 2 commenters, there is an official Skibidi Toilet mobile game that I assume they're talking about. However, Noel over here just does not get it. On the Half-Life 2 Steam page, they posted, "What is this old game? It looks like Nintendo Wii and it's from 2004, which is super super old? And why did you use Skibidi Toilet heads for your characters? Why did you rip off Skibidi Toilets? I want to die. So what led to this video being made? Well, originally, I figured why not play the Skibidi mobile game for a short? I figured I could handle Skibidi Toilet in small doses at the very least. But then I fell into just the weirdest rabbit hole ever, and I started downloading way too many Skibidi Toilet games, and I could not stop myself. And then I realized something even more important. I needed to contextualize the download for all of my Skibidi Toilet games, because if I died tomorrow, somebody might look through my phone and just think I really enjoy Skibidi Toilet games when that's just not the case. I needed there to be some kind of tangible evidence that I did not do this for fun. Anyway, the developer of the sole official Skibidi Toilet game is Influencer Apps LLC. You may recognize them from Cranberry Rush. I know y'all played that one. Or maybe Bread of Truth, Obama Run 2, or Goofy Ah Game. I'm sorry if there's like an Obama Run 2 fandom out there, but I'm a hater. Obama Run 1 was just better. So anyway, you can tell the developer clearly specializes in meme games. Perfect fit for Skibidi Toilet. So let's try and tough this experience out together. Let's put on our big boy pants and look at the only official Skibidi Toilet game that I know of. Skibidi War Toilets Attack. All you do is avoid the toilets charging towards you while shooting them. Of course, they sing the song at you constantly, and they hit you if you get too close. There's 3 waves in each level, and nothing seems to change with the first 2 waves, but the 3rd wave introduces a boss, and I have never seen a boss attack me in this game. It's just way too easy. I always kill them before they're ever even fully on screen. Are they even programmed to attack? I really just don't know. And after playing this game for 5 levels with 3 waves in each level, I can successfully say I noticed 0 difference between each of them, aside from the fact the level 5 boss did have multiple heads, which was really cool, but the boss still never touched me. Also, the cameras suck. There's only one type of enemy, there's only one map, and only one gun unless you spend $5. So what I'm trying to say is I am $5 poorer. So in between each level of Skibidi War, I of course got an ad because this is a mobile game we're talking about. Now, 3 of those ads were for more Skibidi Toilet mobile games. All knockoffs, of course. But anyway, that got me thinking. I know I will keep getting ads in each new mobile game I play because duh. So the question became, how many different Skibidi Toilet games would I get if I just kept downloading and playing every Skibidi Toilet game that came my way via ads from other Skibidi Toilet games? Basically, I want to see how high I can get the Skibidi Toilet combo going. How many new Skibidi Toilet games will I get from playing other Skibidi Toilet games? Let's find out. So first I played Skibidi.io. Here you get points from destroying objects, but the main goal is to acquire more Skibidis or toilet men. I don't know the terminology here, and you just can't make me learn. So you're really just going around trying to make the toilet man bigger, and wow, this is really my job. What am I doing? Once I got my toilet man as big as possible and completed my evolution, I also got a game over. So I'm being serious when I say, I don't know if winning is programmed into this game. But I did get another Skibidi ad for a game called Monster Battle Series, so that's what we're playing next. By the way, I never let these apps track my activity across my phone, so these new games have no idea I've already installed other previous Skibidi Toilet games. So these advertisements are just recommending things out of the goodness of their heart. And we all know mobile games have our best interests at heart. So Monster Battle Series seemingly has nothing to do with toilets, and frankly, I'm pissed off. It's a sandbox game where you run around and attack people, and I really think that's it. The most enjoyment I got was watching this NPC just run into this car over and over. After not even 2.5 minutes of running around and just kinda shooting, I got a pop-up for this booster. Upon choosing my booster, I got another Skibidi Toilet ad. How lucky am I? And this ad is literally just a screen recording of somebody playing Gmod. Absolutely no effort went into this ad. I kinda love it, actually. Anyway, time to download Nextbot's Shooter Sandbox. But don't think that's all we're gonna download from this game, because at the very top of the screen, I also got an ad for Prank Sound Toilet Call. So if you've lost count, we're already at 7 Skibidi Toilet games. And I've only played 3. Feel free to comment how many Skibidi Toilet games you think we're gonna get to. I say we look at Prank Toilet Call next. The first thing I need to do is choose my favorite sounds, but with a delectable selection like this, how could I ever choose? As far as I can tell, all you can do in this game is voice or video call these characters. Video calling just plays a Skibidi Toilet video, and voice calling does nothing. It's literally just silence. It's as if they forgot to drag the files into this game. And why the hell is that a recurring trend here, by the way? It feels like every game we've played so far has just like forgotten to add something to their game that you'd think should be important. There were also some other random people I could call, so I of course gave Jizzo Blackpink a call, and we had the most engaging conversation ever. While playing this game, I somehow managed to only get 2 different types of ads. One for the Wall Street Journal, which I just saw over and over for some goddamn reason. And the other one was for their subscription service. Excuse me, so you want me to pay $5 a month? No, wait. That's $5 a week for an app that doesn't even have basic features that it promises? Are you kidding me? This is actually the bottom of the barrel. Every game we've looked at has somehow been almost worse than like every bad mobile game I've looked at combined. I'm getting like heated right now. Anyway, now I'm $10 poorer. No new Skibidi Toilet ad from that game, but don't worry because we still have 3 untouched games. Next Bots is a magical game with a magical soundtrack. You're listening to it right now. In fact, this game is so good it just speaks for itself. Let me show you some gameplay. So if you're confused by what you saw, then you're pretty dumb. You're supposed to navigate this incredibly complex and interesting maze and shoot these memes. Yep. So I got this knockoff Spider-Man game for an ad, and at first I was like, whatever. But then, out of nowhere, I heard the music slowly creep in, and oh great, it's another one! This game is actually the exact same game as Monster Battle Series, but it's a completely different app. The only difference that I noticed was you can shoot webs like Spider-Man, so I guess the ad only half clickbaited us because I couldn't find any toilet men here. Nor did I get any new Skibidi Toilet ads. So we only have 2 more Skibidi Toilet games to keep the streak alive. Monster Park had me raising toilet men so I can show them off in some kind of bizarre zoo. I don't have anything else to say on the game, it really just is what it is. But I did get an ad that wanted me to color in the Skibidi Toilet drawing. We are so back, baby! This is Coloring Game Color ASMR. You tap and hold the screen and the game draws the outlines for you. Also, if you hold down the screen, the marker will just keep going forever and disappear. Where's the marker going? And by the way, when you're done the outlines, you can color in the game by yourself. I guess they just don't trust its player in tracing an outline. Then we got our very own choice of Skibidi Toilet ad. How lucky are we? Now calm down, don't worry, I did download both of them. This is Dop Yes Yes Delete One Part. It's a puzzle game where you erase one object to solve the puzzle, if you can even call them puzzles. Anyway, 3 levels in and we get this ad for Skibidi.io, a game we already played so we won't be downloading anything new this time. Guess the toilet monster voice seems to be made by the same developers who made the Skibidi Toilet calling game. The subscription plans are here and everything. However, this app managed to be worse than the calling app. All you do is tap on the sound effects that you want to listen to and listen to them. Now, so far we have played 10 Skibidi Toilet games, 9 that we found from other Skibidi Toilet games, and there's only 1 unplayed game left, Mechagallion. It's a really boring game where you fight giant enemies, Skibidi Toilet not included. And yeah, this was the ad for the game, by the way. I suppose he could be in there somewhere, but how long do you expect me to play each and every one of these goddamn games for? But I did play this game for a while, and I in fact did see 1 Skibidi Toilet ad for the Friday Night Funkin' ripoff Beat Battle. Now, ironically, I've already talked about Beat Battle in a previous video, so I won't talk much about it here, but I did re-download the game just to play the Skibidi Toilet level. And fun fact, the Skibidi Toilet level was the first level at the very top of the screen. They just knew that's what I wanted. And yep, this is exactly what I expected from a Friday Night Funkin' parody of Skibidi Toilet. But unfortunately, I saw no new Skibidi Toilet ads here, so that's where the streak ends. So we've played a total of 12 Skibidi Toilet games. 11 of these games were from ads found by playing other Skibidi Toilet games. This This makes me sad. This video is pain. Brandon Rogers. He's a 6 million plus subscribed to YouTuber who probably makes the most elaborate sketches I have ever seen on YouTube. They're also usually very inappropriate, making it very confusing as to why Broadband TV made a game for him, along with all of these kid-targeted YouTube channels. It's like when they started to develop games, they picked a niche of making games for YouTubers, but they definitely did not lock down a demographic. In his sketches, he also plays a variety of unique and creative characters. His app is called Brandon Rogers Balls of Fortune. The only fortunate balls around here are the ones that are in my... This is just a novelty app where you're supposed to ask a yes or no question and then it'll give you a yes or no answer, just like a Magic 8 Ball. There's 12 of his characters you can ask and they all answer with a comical response as their respective characters.
I'm Bobby Worst. I'm a horny terrorist trapped in a ball. Ask me some shit or shove me in your ass!
Alright, that's good to know. Hey Bobby, will I ever get married?
Not right now. But that face of yours is looking an awful lot like a seat.
Okay. It gets old pretty fast, especially since you can only ask 3 characters for free. The other 9 characters are behind a $10 paywall in total. I'm just gonna say it. I could not think of a worse DLC. It's like we're almost given an exclusive Brandon Rogers sketch, but we're not. At the end of the day, we're getting a guy who is saying yes and no in funny ways. And is that worth paying $10 for? I could buy a $5 footlong for that price.
Whoa, calm down there, soldier. It's been 3 hours. Your time is up. If you want to finish this video specifically, hit the annotation right there. If you want to check out my mobile game compilation to also fall asleep to, I know you fell asleep to this one, check it out right there. Now remember to hit that yellow subscribe button and rate this video 5 stars. Peace out. How do I turn this off?